탈퇴 안 하고 저그전을 한번 뽑아보려고 합니다. 뽑을 사람이 지금은 한 명밖에 안 보이긴 해요.
막상 저그를 보니까 저밖에 뽑을 사람이 없긴 해요. 그래서 그냥 운명 받아들이려고. 근데 저그 말고도 맛있어 보이는 선수들이 좀 있긴 하거든요. 정영이 형이나 용태 형이나.
저 뽑아서 올테테조를 한번 만들어보면 어떨까.
내가 너 뽑으면은 테란 뽑을 거야? 진우 뽑을래? 어때?
그것도 나쁘지 않은데?
용태형 의견도
용태형,
들어보고 싶긴 한데.
예.
뽑아서 자신 있으면 뽑으셔도 됩니다.
디조 하고 싶은 선수 있으세요? 디조? 박상현.
제가 본 시드권자 중에 가장 약해 보여요.
갑자기.
근데 저도 영진이랑 하고 싶네요.
저그전을 좀 이겨내보고자 뽑을 생각이었는데 진우를 뽑고 제가 짭재동을 너가 뽑아라. 진우야 너 생각은 어때?
뽑지 말라 하더라고요. 계속 긍정적으로 생각하고 있거든요.
아, 저 디조 시드가 좋지 않네요. 항상 보면은.
오고 줄 서 있어요 지금. 실리. 와, 딜.
김민철은 승자전에서 제가 잡을 거기 때문에 황병영을 뽑았습니다.
저거를 아까 뽑아달라 했는데 막상 오니까 또 고민이 되네요. 전 테란이 좋은데
지금 있는 테란 중에 제가 다 이길 수 있다는 마인드라서 시청자분들이 싫어하실까봐 저는 태태 상관없어요.
8강 한 자리 차지할 테니까 저희 위에서 만났으면 좋겠어요.
자꾸 저를 꼬시는데 지금 테란 뽑으면 그래도 시청자분들이 좀 재밌어하지 않을까요?
저그들이 있는 쪽으로 가가지고
생각이었는데
고춧가루를 뿌리면 좀 더 좋지 않을까.
그러면 김민철한테 하면 될 것 같아요. 같은 조에서. 아니, 김민철은 디조 확정이니까.
확정이니까.
않네요. 항상 보면은.
오고 줄 서 있어요 지금. 실리. 와, 딜.
김민철은 승자전에서 제가 잡을 거기 때문에 황병영을 뽑았습니다.
저거를 아까 뽑아달라 했는데 막상 오니까 또 고민이 되네요. 전 테란이 좋은데
지금 있는 테란 중에 제가 다 이길 수 있다는 마인드라서 시청자분들이 싫어하실까봐 저는 태태 상관없어요.
8강 한 자리 차지할 테니까 저희 위에서 만났으면 좋겠어요.
자꾸 저를 꼬시는데 지금 테란 뽑으면 그래도 시청자분들이 좀 재밌어하지 않을까요?
저그들이 있는 쪽으로 가가지고 고춧가루를 뿌리면 좀 더 좋지 않을까.
그러면 김민철한테 하면 될 것 같아요. 같은 조에서. 아니, 김민철은 디조 확정이니까.
확정이니까.
공자가 너무
그것도 괜찮은 것 같아요.
뭐 별로 저는 상관없어요. 저저전도 레벨이 좀 있다고 생각을 하거든요. 그래서 저는 앉을 자신이 있어요.
유진우. 와, 유진우.
디조의 마지막이 사실 김민철 아니면 이재호 반반이거든요. 근데 만약에 재호 형이 들어오면 다 테란이잖아요. 시청자분들도 좀 주무실 것 같기도 해서.
배려를 많이 했고요. 그리고 뭐 어차피 뭐 민철이가 여기 와도 제가 만약에 승자전 가면은 이제 진우가 또 이길 수도 있잖아요.
저도 테란전 준비하면 정말 잘할 자신이 있거든요.
저희도랑 디조에 다 물어봤는데 서로 잘 맞는 것 같아요. 둘 다 저는 똑같아요. 오히려 뭐 시조 가도 더 편하게 게임할 것 같아요. 이게. 근데 장윤철이 마지막에 남는 건 조금 다른 생각할 것 같아요.
되는 상황이거든요.
둘
같이
다
뽑았어요. 같이 장윤철, 김민철.
생각보다는 이런 말을 될지 모르겠어요. 휴은조가 걸려가지고.
꿀조예요.
네, 그래서 준비하기는 편하겠네요.
And for our final day of the round of 16, I am Nyoken, joined by Scan. We're going to find out who's going to round out the top 8. But of course, before we get into that, we're going to get an interview with our final 4 players.
지지하는 청춘과 열정, 젊음을 대표하는 에너지 드링크 한식과 퍼포먼스로 앞서가다 LG 울트라 기어가 함께합니다. ASL 시즌12 16강 마지막 D조 경기로 인사드립니다. 안녕하세요, 이영경입니다. 어제 C조 경기 왜 C조가 16강에 역대 최고 수준인지를 좀 알려주는 정말 치열한 경기가 펼쳐졌죠. 장장 4시간 30분의 치열한 전투 끝에 결국 이재호 선수와 김명훈 선수가 살아나 8강으로 올라섰습니다. 자, 이제 8강에 남은 두 장입니다. 이 장을 놓고 펼치는 싸움인 만큼 오늘 더더욱 치열한 경쟁이 예상되는데요. 첫 번째 경기 앞두고 있는 두 명의 선수 만나봐야겠죠. 자, 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 유영진 선수와 황명영 선수입니다. 안녕하세요.
But now we're gonna be moving to Group
네,
D.
먼저 두 시즌 연속 와일드카드로 시드를 획득한 유영진
players,
선수.
Rush and
사실
Bears.
조지명 측에서 시드임에도 불구하고 약간 많이
during the group
도발을
nomination,
당했어요.
Rush, you
좀
said
혼주를 내고 싶다.
you
이런
are the
생각이
seeded
드셨을
player,
것
but
같은데요.
a lot of players
일단
who are not seeded
저그를 이번
player,
시즌에 좀 많이 잡는
they
게
were
목표고요.
pretty much
그래서
provoking
오늘
you.
김민철을 어떻게든 잡아볼 생각입니다.
김민철 선수를
Okay,
잡고
so
가장
Rush
빨리
says
8강에
he kind of
오르겠다라는
wants to
생각이신가요?
take down
네, 오늘
Soulkey.
1등으로
He
진출하고
wants to
싶어요.
advance into
황병영
quarterfinal
선수도
as the
정말
first
좀
player out of this
오랜만에
group.
시즌 9 이후 오랜만에
take
또
down
16강
Soulkey
경기를 앞두고
ASAP.
계십니다. 내심 좀 테란이 많은 조를 원하셨던 것 같은데
And during the
현재
group
황병영
nomination,
선수가 속한
Barracks, you
D조
said you want to
테란
make
2명, 저그
you want to
2명입니다.
make
만족하시나요?
a lot of Terrans inside of your group. Are you satisfied with this group?
뭐
With
괜찮은 것
having
같아요.
2 Terran and 2 Zergs?
시청자분들도 이제 태태전
I think it is
한
fine.
판만
I kind of like it.
보고, 오늘 뭐 영진이랑 저나
As the
이제
audience, you just have to
현명히
watch
위로
only one Terran
볼
versus
수
Terran.
있어요.
And I
이번
think it
시즌
is going to
12
be an
16강에서 좀
interesting
좀처럼
match
보기
for us.
어려웠던 태태전 오늘의 첫 번째 경기를 또 두 분이 펼쳐주시게 됐습니다. 태태전 아무래도 선수들의 정교한 컨트롤 운영
Playing a
정말 봐야
TVT
할
is
요소들이
It's
많은데
an intense
유영진
matchup where you
선수가
have
보는
to
황병영 선수
think about all
테란,
those
또 황병영 선수가 보는 유영진 테란 좀 어떤지 서로
great decision
평가를
making
해주신다면요, 유영진 선수?
and so on.
황병영은
And
빠꾸가 없어요. 좀
B가 없다.
예,
Is there-
많이 무서워요.
would you like
제가 지금
to-
대회에서
so she was
예선까지 지금 3대0으로
asking
지고
how
있거든요.
do you feel about
네,
playing against Barracks and how would you
초반에
describe it?
끝나는 상황이 많아가지고 좀
And he
초반에 잘
says
넘기는 게
Barracks
중요할
is kind of like an all-in player.
김민철
that
선수를
does
자꾸
not
1위로
like to have a future
올라가겠다라고
plan. He
말씀하시고
wants to
지금
end the game
약간의
really fast.
자신감 없는
He wants
듯한
to-
느낌을 받았는데요, 유영진 선수.
He wants to end the game
김민철보다
fast
황병영이 더
as he can.
오, 황병영
So he, Rush
선수,
says
유영진 선수
he is afraid to
시드의
play
유영진
against Barracks
선수가
than
보면 좀
playing
가장
against
무서운
Soulkey.
테란 황병영 선수라고 이야기를 했는데 황병영 선수가
Barracks,
생각하는
Rush says
유영진
that-
선수는 어떤 테란인가요?
Rush Barracks,
제가
Rush said he's
그
he's
원래
afraid to play
잘한다고
against
생각은
you
했는데 엊그제
rather than playing against Soulkey.
스토리그에서 하는 거 보니까 진짜 엄청
And how do you also feel about
제
playing
생각보다
against Rush?
잘하더라고요. 그래서
So
이거는
Barracks says he was also
그냥 하면 안
watching
되겠다 해서
some Rush's
좀
VOD
준비를
and his
최선을
online
제일
pro
많이
leagues, online
준비를
spa
하긴
matches.
했어요. 1경기가 제일 중요할
His-
것 같아서
He's a great player. He
근데
Rush is
되게
a great player,
하는 것 같아요. 요즘에 진짜 제일 잘하는 것 같아요.
and he cannot underestimate
유영진
him.
선수도 말씀하셨지만 현재 ASL
because
내에서
he has a lot of
상대
experience
선수를
than
황병영
he
선수가
has.
앞서고 있습니다. 지난 시즌 9에서
So
24강에서도 또
He tried to
대결을
prepare
펼치셨는데 그때 황병영 선수가
as
승리를
much as he
거두셨잖아요.
can,
그때 좋은 기억을 떠올리신다면 황병영 선수 오늘 좀 승리의
and he'll try
가능성에
to
대해서
take him
어떻게
down
점치고
tonight.
계신가요?
그때랑 영진이 지금의 영진이 또 다른 것 같아요. 그래서
So-
네, 영진이가
a
또
year
이제
ago or
또
2 years
이제
ago, and now
좀
the current Rush.
영진이 스타일을 그래도 제가 잘 알거든요. 그래서 얘가 좀 말리면
He has
잘
improved
못할
a
때가
lot.
있더라고요. 그래서
And
그거를 좀 이용해서
what are the difference between 2 years ago of Rush and now?
일단 두
And
테란 선수들이
Rush,
서로가 서로를
Barracks
인정하는
says
듯한 대답을
Rush
해주셨는데요. 팬분들은 이두
did
선수에게
improve a lot,
어떤
but there are
점이
there's
궁금하셨을지
always some
SK ASL
weaknesses that he
진행하겠습니다.
still
먼저
has,
유영진 선수
and he still needs to be working
지명식에서 첫
on.
경기 이기고
and he'll
승자전에서
try to hit
김민철
that
선수를
weaknesses
잡아내고
take
8강에
him
가는
down.
시나리오를
And we'll be
쓰셨다고
moving into the
하셨습니다.
question, the
아버지의 힘으로
fans
대회에서 1위 달성할 자신이
question.
있으신지 물어봐
So
주셨네요.
now you became a father.
아버지가 되고
You
나서
are
이제 첫 AS
you are now someone's
좀 힘이
the
좀 나는 것 같아요.
daughter's
좀더 집중해가지고 오늘 확실하게 1등으로
daughter's parent. And
아버지로서의 동기부여는
are you gonna be
정말
showing some
가장
daddy
강하실 것
power
같은
tonight?
오늘의 D조
he
유영진
says he will try his
선수인데요.
best, and
황병영
yes, he would
선수에게도
like
질문이
to.
올라왔습니다.
Also, one of the
황병영 선수
questions to
공격적인 선수로
Barracks.
평가받는다고 이야기를
A lot of
해주시면서
people
오늘도 빠르고
analyze you.
공격적인 황병영 선수의 테란 좀 볼 수 있을지 질문을
Analyze you
해주셨는데
as an
유영진 선수도
aggressive
뒤도
player,
없는
likes to
테란이다라고 또 이야기를
likes to
해주셨잖아요.
play aggressive and super fast. Are we also going to be seeing some that kind of a aggressive and fast,
스타일이긴 한데
speedy play
그래도
once
준비는
again
항상
tonight?
B까지 많이 준비를 하긴 해요. 근데 이제
So
초반에
Barracks
이제
says
끝나가지고
even if he's kind of playing aggressive and speedy game,
네, 오늘도 뭐
he also
기대해
still thinks
주셔도
about
좋을 것 같아요.
the
준비는 잘했어요.
the backup plan for the
과연
future
어떤
for
준비를
the mid and
황병영
late game
선수가 해오셨을지
transition.
경기를 통해 확인해 볼 수
But
있을 것
however,
같습니다.
every
마지막으로
time when
두
he
선수의
plays against his
각오를
opponent,
들어볼까요?
his
유영진
opponent gets
선수.
crushed by his
일단 오늘
pressure.
준비 정말 많이 해가지고 자신
Any
있으니까
last word before we go into the game? And Rush says he has prepared a lot of this
저도
round of
연습한
16.
만큼
He will
그냥
try to
연습한 대로
show some great games tonight. And Barracks says
하겠습니다.
네, 두 선수의 멋진 태태전
he
기대하겠습니다.
says
인터뷰 고맙습니다.
Barracks says he
감사합니다.
kind of
자, 이렇게 해서
wants
마지막
to make it into
D조의 첫 번째
quarterfinal,
경기에
kind
나서는
of pace him
유명의
off
테란
with the
유영진
practices
선수와
while he was
황병영
doing
선수와 함께 이야기 나눠봤습니다.
a couple
자,
days
오늘의 두
ago.
번째
So
경기는
he'll
두
try to
명의
perform his
저그
best.
선수들이
And
출전합니다.
thank you for the
유진우
interview.
선수와
We're also moving into
김민철
another
선수
two
만나보시죠.
players. They are the two Zerg players who will
반갑습니다.
be
자, 유진우
Beast
선수와 인사
and
좀
Soulkey.
나눠보겠습니다.
How are you guys
경기장은 좀
doing?
익숙해지셨을 것 같은데
네.
16강은 또
And
약간은
because
낯선
you
기분이실 것 같아요. 컨디션은
you have
어떠세요?
you probably have
16강 자체가 처음이고
visit this studio often, and you probably started to feel comfortable to be in this place.
부담이 많이 되긴 하는데 저도
But this is your
예전에
first
탑
time
출신으로서
making it into
저저저는
round of 16.
좀 하거든요.
You might still have
저는
some
자신 있다.
저저저는 그냥 안
nervous to play on round of 16, aren't you? And
해가지고
be safe.
충분히 자신 있습니다.
자신이 있는 유진우 선수의 상대 김민철
He feels
선수와도 이야기를
confident even though he's
나눠보겠습니다.
lacking with
안녕하세요.
the experience compared to the other
요즘 뭐
players.
기세가 가장 좋은 선수를 꼽으라면 또 김민철
he-
선수를 빼놓을
so
수
the
없을
group
것 같은데
Has
늘
2 Zerg and 2
조지명식에서
Terran,
선택을
so
가장 늦게 받는 선수 중에 또 하나예요.
he thinks it's
이번에는
not
좀
going to be too
시드를
hard for him.
획득해야겠다라는 좀 다짐이 생기지 않으셨나요?
항상 그러니까 D조를 좀 자주 몇 번 가는 것 같아요.
So
그래서
Soulkey says
이번에는
he often gets
좋은
into
성적
Group
거두고
D all the
싶거든요.
time
그리고
for round of
경기력도
16.
좀 좋은
Not just
상태인
this
것
season,
같아서
previous seasons as well.
오늘은 좀 잘 해볼 수 있도록
And he
하겠습니다.
used to get
어제
eliminated
혹시
in round of 16
김명훈 선수의 인터뷰를 보셨을까요?
a year or 2 years ago, but now
김명훈 선수가
he
어제
kinda wants
8강
to
인터뷰를 통해서
break his limit
김민철의 저저전은
to go up higher.
라고 이야기를 했습니다. 실제로 좀 저저전에 발목을 잡힌 경험도 있으셔서
So Queen
유진우
says,
선수와의 첫 경기 좀
or
걱정이 되거나
some other players said, Soulkey, you are weak at
걱정은
ZBZ.
되긴 하는데
And it is kind of true
좀
by
잘해온
just
것
by
같아요.
looking at the stats and tournament
오늘 꼭
stats.
올라가서 저도 명훈 형이랑 붙고 싶네요. 그래서
Some of the Zerg players are pretty much
진짜
stopping you
네.
on
보고 싶어요.
ZVZ, and you always getting
그 사람.
eliminated.
이를 안 다물고 지금
so
말씀을
Soulkey
하신 것
says
같은데 자
He
유진우
wants
선수도
to
오늘
take
첫
that
경기
person
정말 많이 준비를
down,
해오신 것 같아요.
which is
저저전
Queen.
자신 있다
Yesterday,
이렇게 말씀을
during the
하신 거
interview, the
보면
winner's interview,
김민철
Queen
선수의
says
어떤 점을 좀
Soulkey,
중점적으로
the one of the
노려보고
Zerg players
생각이시나요?
who's not good at ZVZ,
일단
and he's pretty much
민철이
saying
형이 운영적인
he wants
부분에서
to take Queen
완전
down
perfect한데 약간
next
컨트롤
time.
부분에 살짝 미스가 많더라고요. 그래가지고 컨트롤
Beast is-
부위에서 일단 나이도 좀 더 어리고 피지컬도 저가
Beast
좀
is
더
rating about Soulkey's
좋다고
ZVZ.
생각하기 때문에 잘할 수
His macro is absolutely
기대되네요.
beast.
자, 이번에는
However,
에스크 ASL인데요.
he kinda finds there are some weak points
14강에서 이번 시즌 유독 좀
on a micro-oriented play where Soulkey needs to be doing on ZVZ.
김범수 선수나 배병우 선수나 자 이제 유진훈
So he
선수가
thinks he
이변의
can
주인공이 될
have a
마지막
great shot to
기회인데
take down
이
Soulkey.
부분에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시는지 질문
So one of the
주셨네요.
questions to Beast,
저는 일단
we got to see all those tier 4 players make it into round of 16 like Noob, 815, and you also made it in this time too.
이번에는 제가
Do you
좀
think
이변을 일으키지
you're gonna be
않을까.
breaking some kind of expectation?
유진우 선수가
to make it into
24강에서
quarterfinal.
보여준 모습이 있기 때문에 충분히 또 가능성이 있을 거라고 많은 분들도 생각을 하고 계실
So
것
a lot of
같은데 김민철 선수에게는 이런 질문을
a lot
남겨주셨네요.
of fans
현재
probably
김민철
have
선수의
watched
폼을
Beast's
보면
play.
적수가
He
없다는
says
생각이
in round of
드신다고
24 he
하는데
has
김민철
performed
선수가
really
생각하는
really
현재
well.
최고의 라이벌 어떤
So he
선수인가요?
thinks he can show some same pace just like this time.
라이벌이라기보다는 제가
with this round of
생각하기에
16.
제일 위험한 선수들은
Who is the
저거든요.
best rival
저그들이거든요.
against
네.
you?
저그 선수들만 좀 조심하면 될 것 같아요.
And Soulkey
오늘
says
첫 경기가 아마
in
많은
his
것들을
opinion,
결정짓는 경기가 되지 않을까 하는 생각이
probably most
드는데요.
of the
두
Zerg players
선수의
pretty much
각오를
is his
끝으로
rival. He needs
들어보겠습니다.
to
유진우
beat
선수.
them in order
제가
to.
이번 제가
pass
손가락이
his
별로 안
limit.
좋은데 이번에
Any last
진짜
word?
부서질
Beast?
만큼 열심히 연습했거든요.
Beast says his fingers,
이번에
or he
진짜
pretty much has some
기대해
injuries on his fingers and his
김민철
hands,
선수.
but
네,
he's
아직
still trying to
오늘도
push his,
네, 별로 안
push him
믿어주셨으면
harder
좋겠고요.
to play better,
편하게 하려고
and he practiced a lot. He'll try to make it into
준비는 많이 해왔어요.
quarterfinal.
그래도 좀
So Soulkey
잘해보겠습니다.
네, 두 분의 멋진 동족전 기대해
Soulkey
보도록
says
하겠습니다.
he
인터뷰 고맙습니다.
prepared a lot for this ASL Season
자, 이렇게
12.
해서
He
이번
wants
시즌
to play really
마지막
well and
16강
try to
경기를
go up
앞두고
higher
있는
than
D조의
before.
4명의 선수와
Thank you for the
함께
interview.
이야기 나눠봤습니다. 과연 8강에 남은 2장의 티켓 어떤 선수의 손에 쥐어지게 될지 지금부터 D조 경기를 통해 함께 확인해 보시죠.
Thank you for the translation scan. It's weird to hear the pros think that Soulkey's weak ZVZ because, I mean, he's a monster. He's really good at all the matchups. But before we get into that ZVZ, we are going to see a Terran versus Terran between Rush and Barracks. Now that Action has been eliminated, actually Rush is my pick to go really, really far in the tournament. And as Barracks mentioned, Rush in the past 2 years has completely turned into monster mode Terran, so it's going to be super hard for Barracks, I think, specifically versus Rush. But remember, Barracks already played really well versus Sock. So what do you think about our first matchup of the day, Scan?
I think Barracks can maybe like give it a shot. It's a best of one matchup on Polypoid where everyone has played on that same map for like more than a year on ladder or even on online matches and whatsoever. And I think it's just pretty much gonna be based on mechanics and a lot of mind game between those two players. And as a strong player, like whenever you're facing another player who's under you or below you, you kind of want to play safe and you don't want to take risk. And if you're over spending your resource for all those safety build order, you might gonna lose the pace. And we know Barracks likes to play super aggressive, and he might take that as a chance and go for the super big pressure.
Yeah, we heard Rush talk about how aggressive Barracks was. And of course, we're getting a look at the groups, all of the winners on the left side, and then Group D today. This is how it's playing out so far. Soma, Royal, Light, 1 Zerg, 2 Terrans, and on the bottom side, Mini, Hero, double Zerg down there. So we're potentially going to have, well, we could have 2 Zergs or 2 Terrans, or you could have 1 Terran and 1 Zerg. Only 1 Protoss in the round of 8, so you know Team Liquid's blowing up about the balance on that.
Yeah, for some reason, all those strongest top Protoss players got eliminated in round of 24. It was somewhat unexpected, like how Best was getting knocked out by 815. We know 815 has prepared a lot, but I mean 815 had a nice chance to make it into quarterfinal. Like that was his first try of making it into ASL, and he was almost there.
Yeah, and we're going to see who's going to make it into the round of 8 today. Is it going to be Rush, the guy that I think could go pretty deep, or is it going to be one of the, not necessarily newcomers, but fresh faces in Barracks and Beast? Of course, then we also have the monster Soulkey on the Zerg, or representing the Zerg race. And we're going to get a look at Rush's stats. Highest win rate versus Protoss, but actually pretty solid win rate versus Terran and Zerg too.
Not too bad, I would say. 45%. I'm pretty sure Rush played against all those strong Terran players back then, and pretty much sum up to nowadays. And if we try to exclude his past year stats, his TBT would have a higher win rate over there.
We're going to see Barracks stats in just a second. He's definitely not going to have as many games as Rush played in the ASL, because ASL is just Rush is a staple in the ASL. And here we go. Not that many games, 4 wins, 8 losses. His best win rate is versus Terran, and of course he had that epic game versus Sock earlier in the tournament. Now I know you mentioned practicing with Barracks earlier. I'm sure you gave him some tips today in the past few days, right?
Oh yeah, I've been helping him a lot, and pretty much stole all of my sleep time. I couldn't get up at 11 a.m. today, where I had to play against Gypsy. Hey.
Well, hopefully he comes through for you. I'm sure a lot of people will be rooting for him, of course, since he's going to be a new face in the ASL. Did we get to see the maps? I wasn't paying attention.
The best of 1 match is always going to be Polypoid.
Yeah, it's Polypoid. We're going to wait and see what the maps will be once the best of 3s kick in. Remember yesterday we got a treat with, I think, 2 Lemon games, was that right? We had the PvP and the Terran versus Zerg. So I'm secretly hoping we get to see a TVT potentially on Lemon.
Yeah, it looks like both of the pairs are trying to get ready. And we are probably going to be moving into the game number 1 very soon, momentarily. Barracks has not put his earphones yet. Looks like he's trying to set up his settings. Get ready for this game number 1 soon. Rush versus Barracks.
It looks like they hear the music kick in, so that means that our players are going to be ready. So let's get into game 1, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Rush versus Barracks to finish out our Group D. Maybe.
Yeah, looks like Barracks is still not ready yet. Yeah, now he grabs the noise cancellation headset. Looks like he's about to get ready here.
Alright, here we go. Let's get into game 1 of Group D. A Terran versus Terran. Rush versus Barracks on Polypoid. So in the top right are yellow Terran, and I'm sure won't be yellow for much longer. It is Rush. And the bottom left looks like a light green color. That is Barracks. Now I'm trying to think back to the games that I saw versus Sock. It's not coming to me, but as mentioned in the interviews, Barracks, I think almost every game we've seen so far, whether it's TVT or not, he's been pretty aggressive with like Proxy Barracks, Forward Barracks, 8 racks. What can we expect from him since you, of course, have been practicing with him?
Well, I did not like to spoil, but I think.
Or what does he tend to go for? How about that?
Well, I guess most likely both of the players pretty much gonna go for expansion first with the factory, or even with the barracks expand, because I mean, in TVT, one base play doesn't really work at pro level, because as soon as the opponent like figures out you are playing one base play style, they immediately counters you with all sort of strategies that ever works. And we see, first of all, nothing is going crazy. Depot at the bottom of the command center, and whenever you're building the depot bottom of the command center, you can have that SCV spawns to the right side and close to the mineral line.
Well, that SCV is going to the low ground for Barracks, so this is going to be a forward Barracks. And that means that, of course, he's going to try and probably pressure with Marines. We'll have to see how many he wants to build with this. Meanwhile, Rush just built a standard Barracks in his main. Now, what are you looking to do with this Barracks? The Barracks that Barracks has proxied. How many Marines are you building with this?
Well, whenever you're doing the forward Barracks, you would like to make at least 2 or maybe maximum 3 Marine to go for the super aggression, especially when your opponent is going to go for Barracks expand like how Rush is right now doing. He's going for 11 Barracks into a 12 Scout. So yeah, now I guess this is somewhat unexpected that Rush is going to play Barracks expand instead of going for factory expand.
Yep, it is going to be the gasless expand. I find this build so difficult to deal with. So I want to see what Barracks comes up with. Remember, Rush went for a fast scout, so his command center is a little bit slower than it could have been. But Barracks did not scout at all until his Barracks completed. So this is going to be a very, very late scout. I don't think he's going to be able to continue to mine gas and go for something like Proxy Factory or Proxy Starport, but we'll see. For now, he has pulled off of gas, so that's really gonna limit his build options right now. He's kind of just forced to expand at this point. And look at this, because of the scout timing, actually Barracks is gonna find him last because he thought he came from bottom right.
Yeah, that scouting pattern that came from the right side, and now Barracks turned his scouting SCV to the bottom right. And losing an SCV is so painful in the early stage of the game. I mean, you're losing a lot of mining time. This is not looking great.
Yeah, that is painful. And then, of course, with the forward racks and the Marines going in the wrong direction, this all of a sudden is a disaster opener for Barracks. Now, he did only build 1 Marine, and as you mentioned, more than likely, when you go for that forward racks, you're building 2 or 3. So he may be able to catch up by saving that extra 50 to 100 minerals by not building additional Marines here. Meanwhile, Rush, he has built, I think, 3 Marines. And we're going to have command center on low ground for Barracks.
Yeah, Rush has those 3 Marine leaving his base, or it's coming back home to try to snipe that scouting SCV where Barracks trying to get some intel. And he got to see there are 3 Marines standing at the natural, but he didn't get to see there's a command center. So he might be thinking this is a standard opening by Rush so far. Just made an extra Marine early stage. And finally, the first Vulture is out, but there is no movement, no action whatsoever. He doesn't know whether this is a Barracks expand or factory expand.
Yeah, huge misstep there to not get in there and scout the Barracks or scout the command center. He may have thought he got in close enough to see it and didn't see it. So he's playing, I think, potentially like this is just a normal 1 base build. But when he watches the replays or when he gets into the mid game, he's going to realize that, hey, this was definitely not the case. Now we do have just a single factory for Barracks. There's no second factory. There's no starport. I'm a bit surprised. Okay, there we go. Second factory has just now started. And meanwhile, Rush is going into 3 factory vultures.
Yeah, I like how Rush decided to go for 3 fact vulture because it's a cross spawn. The distance is really, really far. And when the rush distance is really far, I mean, normally, as Barracks point of view, you can't really go for 2-port Wraith or even a single starport for the dropship play, because the distance is way too far, and Rush is gonna have all those economic lead in the beginning of the game. And okay, he's adding up another factory over here. I'm pretty sure with the barracks, floating barracks, sees the natural and sees there's no second gas going up by Rush, and he gets all this intel. Hey, you don't have second gas. That means you're not building a starport.
Yep, definitely a tell to not have the gas there. Now, this move out, watching it, it actually seems like it might work, but whenever I make this move out, what ends up happening is there's like 9 vultures, and I just have not enough units to defend, and they just easily overwhelm the tank. Oh, he does move in, and he loses a vulture, and okay, these vultures are actually going to move out into the center of the map, and I guess that means he's going to try and set up mines.
Yeah, I wonder what that research is, but we see the research has complete. Okay, that is a spider mine. Putting some spider mines on the high ground, and we'll be running back home. But here's a starport follow-up by Rush with the 3 factory into starport. I cannot believe how much of a resource he's right now spending for all those buildings. Is it even possible?
That's what I was thinking. I don't remember playing versus anybody that could do this. Now, meanwhile, there is no vultures. Instead, it's just mass speed, or speed first. And now it's 6 vultures versus just 3. You can see Barracks desperately running back to defend his main. Now, he will clean this up, but will Rush get enough SCV kills? The answer is going to be yes, because he ends up getting into the main, and now he's going to ransack that SCV line.
Yeah, those vultures are pretty much killing a lot of SCVs, and I mean, it's just hurting Barracks so much. I mean, when we look at the supply differences, it's just becoming bigger and bigger. The gap is becoming bigger.
Oh, that was cute micro there with the SCV. Unfortunately, not able to save it. Now, we have to consider Rush did lose 6 vultures there, and I think Barracks lost like 1. So there is a ground advantage. However, it is dangerous to ever move out onto the map with tank vulture versus a player that could potentially have mines set up everywhere. But look how many vultures Barracks has. It's an overwhelming amount right now. If he was to fight in the center of the map, he would win. But here come those pesky wraiths. And because Barracks rushed 4 factories, I'm not sure if he has an armory. Did you see him start one?
No, not that I've seen. I think he's just pretty much excluding all this possibility and building an armory and an academy right now because he wants to clear those spider mines in the middle of the map. But this 2 raids is pretty much going to be hurting him a lot. I mean, there's a 2 marines still alive. That 2 marines can still save the day. This harassment is way too much.
Yeah, 2 marines do not beat 2 wraiths, and he's just going to straight up fight the marines. So that means that these marines are going to fall, and unfortunately the armory's just right there, so he can just easily pick it off if he sees it. Looks like he's not actually going to spot it, and this is a nice move, comboing with 3 vultures as he saw the vultures move out into the center of the map, and those vultures are actually going to be the one to take down the SCV building the armory.
Yeah, Barracks is just trying to survive and finish it. Okay, he does finish his armory, but it's just so painful to watch how much of SCV is right now losing. Those raids have already 5 kills and maybe a couple more on the other raids. And look at how much of an SCV right now Rush has at the natural, and you just have everything.
Yeah, this is just game-ending amounts of damage. Like, the one thing that could get Barracks back into the game is if for some reason Rush moves into the center of the map and triggers those mines and they explode on his tanks.
Yeah, those 3 raids are doing such a great job, and I like how Rush immediately swap into a Siege tank after the spider mine research finished, and all those beneficial moves that he just earned with those 3 raids. He's adding another command center at the main base. I think he's tend to go for the expansion at the mineral expansion first instead of taking the 3-up clock.
Yeah, Rush is in complete control of this game. He's up 30 supply. And this is what I've actually realized when I play race, is that if you actually just focus down SCVs at the natural, a lot of players don't transfer SCVs to resaturate it. So you can see that Barracks has done a good job to resaturate it there. However, it's still undersaturated, and slowly but surely Rush is going to get higher and higher in supply. Now we do see that, okay, Command Center is almost done for Rush, and that is, I think, 5 factories for Rush too. So he's going to have a production lead, econ lead, I'm sure he's got an armory for upgrades coming in soon, so just everything in his favor.
Yeah, Rush is right now. Trying to. Okay, yeah, there's a command center just now. Complete. I mean, look at the supply count. Like, Rush has built a lot of depot all the way up to 166 supply, and those 3 raids are trying to get some vision control, and also snipes the barracks. So this is gonna force barracks to build another barracks in order to get more of a factory count later on. And I would like to see Rush's armory, whether he has started the +1 attack or whatnot. Because, I mean, in TVT, getting that +2 upgrade does actually affect a lot, especially when you're drawing the Siege Tank line. And this is just overwhelming amount of vultures right now by Rush, and it's pretty much killing all the Spider-Mans in the middle of the map.
Yeah, if somehow, okay, we've got a vulture fight in the center of the map. Barracks, well, he may win this. However, he's not going to be able to push much farther. He may be able to sit in the center of the map. But meanwhile, we've got Race moving to the left side of the map. Not sure exactly what they're looking to do. 7 factories for Rush, so he's really ramping up his production. I too want to see that armory, because as you mentioned, +2 weapon, so important. If Barracks can have a good fight and catch up in the upgrades, he could bring this game back.
It looks like Rush is playing like a TVP where you just pretty much rotate your vultures and put Spider-Mans and try to buy some time here. I mean, I don't see much of action going on by Rush. I mean, his Siege Tank is just sitting on the high ground and just constantly buy some time in the middle of the map and pick some SCV here and there. And those 3 raids are pretty much getting all the intel. He just got to realize, hey, you're just now building your 3rd CC. My 3rd CC is already done.
Yeah, this is so annoying to deal with, and as you mentioned, Rush is rotating those vultures. He moves them onto the high ground. Not going to be able to backstab this time, but he will be able to lay a pretty big field of mines once he finds a secure place for it. 4th command center is ahead of Barracks' 3rd command center, and we're going to have Cloak coming in. I hear scans going off non-stop, so there could be an opportunity where Rush comes in with his Race, and potentially Barracks doesn't have any scans at all if he continues to use them in the center of the map.
Yeah, those Siege Tank, I hear the season model going on in the middle. Barracks does have okayish Siege Tank position, but Rush is not gonna take this chance to go for the fight. He's just gonna be drawing the Siege Tank to the left side.
Well, that was not a bad engagement for Barracks right there. He got the siege advantage. But now Rush is going to move into the left side and deny this 3rd base again. Vultures comboed with Race will easily take down these Goliaths, and actually is going to force a lot of the units back out of position. Now remember, Rush has 7 factories, so these tanks that are isolated in the middle, I would really like to see him just pounce on him, since he knows a lot of units move to the left side to defend this base.
And we also have seen a minute ago Rush was also preparing for the starport with the cloak upgrade and making more air unit. So I'm pretty sure those 3 raids is gonna have that cloak upgrade. Will be completing soon, but he's still not using it yet. Maybe it's not done yet. Okay, there is the cloak, is ready. I mean, those raids have full energy, so that is just gonna be surviving for a super long time. And oh my god, it's so frustrated to watch how that command center is never gonna be finished.
It's 5 base for Rush right now, and tanks have moved to the left side. I just see Barracks tapping out momentarily. This is an unsavable base. You can hear siege mode went off, so this is going to be a dead command center, and he's just going to have to take his middle only, which, you know, is not the ideal base in a TVT once we get into mid and late game, of course. In Rush, he's about to have the entire top left side of the map.
Yeah, I hope Barracks cancel that command center at the 9 o'clock side, but oh, this overamount of a supply count right now Rush has, and those 4 Siege Tank in the middle probably having a good position, and somehow Barracks did get a lot of Siege Tank.
Yeah, he does have a lot of tanks. Unfortunately, he's just down 60 supply. Okay, unfortunately, I think Rush got the siege advantage right there. Or maybe not. That's a big shot. He takes down a couple of the tanks. But with vultures coming into support, Rush is still going to trade effectively here. Both players still at just +1, so they're not going to be two-shotting each other. But lots of damage done from Rush.
Yeah, now somehow Barracks is trying to get the Siege Tank line in the middle of the map, but there's about 2 groups of army. Rush right now just going to be a move here, try to crush Barracks' Siege Tank line, and I think that's just going to be GG.
Yeah, that is GG. Rush went beast mode and just took down Barracks with ease. Now, even though the game looked lopsided, you have to consider Barracks lost so many SCVs in the beginning. So for him to actually recover and almost get third and fourth base up and running, I think he did a good job. But wow, Rush, he's just a monster these days.
It's just incredible how solid his macro is in mid game. I would say. I mean, Barrison was okay on a okay position, but the moment where he let those 6 vultures get inside of his natural, pretty much hurt him so much. Picking up a lot of SCV here and there, and
Yeah,
the
well,
next next combo was the race one too.
Yeah, the race were just ridiculous amounts of damage. In the whole game, I just heard Artosis' voice. All he did was sit there. Well, that game was not a game where the Terran just sat there. Rush was all over the place. Game 2 is going to be coming up. It's going to be Beast versus Soulkey, so don't go anywhere. All right, guys, we're back. Killer performance from Rush in the first game of the day, just absolutely destroying Barracks. Now we're going to go into a ZVZ. This should have equally aggressive play. Of course, ZVZ, the most volatile matchup in the game. Getting a look at Beast here. He's got a 1-1 record versus Zerg. Not many games played. And remember, we heard Beast talking about how Soulkey is weak in ZVZ, so I'm curious what that statistic says.
Yeah, I would like to also see Soulkey's stats over there. And interestingly, it's so low. I mean, 0% win rate against Protoss for Beast. I mean, Beast made it into ASL beating Bisu, Best. Yeah, he beat Bisu and Best at Season 9 and Season 10. Or maybe Season 12 as this season. So, I mean, his Zerg versus Protoss matchup is definitely great, but it's just interesting how low his ZBP win rate is on offline stage.
Yeah, of course, offline completely different than online, so it may just be He's a better online player than he is offline. I also am a little bit surprised there because Beast has killer macro, and we saw yesterday Queen's macro carried him through the Zerg versus Protoss. Now we get to see that ZVZ statistics, 33%. I mean, it's not terrible. It's still okay, but you can see that Soulkey much better versus Protoss and Terran.
Yeah, he has been showing a great performance against Terran and Protoss, online, offline, all those two sides. But I think just by looking at the stats, maybe the other Zerg players who mentioned Soulkey is not good at ZVZ, he probably needs to be working on. I mean, that 33% is just gonna be stopping him to climb up for to make it into quarterfinal for this group. Beast is right there too.
Well, it looks like our players are ready. We're going to be going into Polypoid again. This time, a ZVZ. Remember, Beast talking a little bit about Soulkey. Let's see if Soulkey can prove to him that, hey, man, I've actually got really good ZVZ. So in the top right are Zerg. In the red, it is Beast. And then in the bottom, we have our other Zerg player. It is Soulkey. And luckily for Soulkey, he is going to get a first scout because Beast has spawned in the correct position for him.
That's going to be a little bit of the beneficial scout for Soulkey. And Beast, interestingly, he's not doing the reverse scout. I've been in the same team with him for a year ago for ASL Season 1, and whenever he plays ZVZ, he kind of likes to do the reverse scout where you send the overlord to the opposite direction so you can meet up the overlord in the middle. And he's one of the type of player who kind of likes to go for 9 pull or 12 hatchery. He doesn't like the between build, like 12 pull build.
Okay, so we're going to see one extreme for the other, or the other. Well, it looks like Soulkey is aware of that because he's betting on that this is going to be a 12 hatch, and that's a 9 pull. And every game I've seen so far, the 9 pull player has ended up being able to take down that 12 hatch. So let's see if Beast does go for the 12 hatch. He's got the 250 minerals, and he has built those drones. Ooh, is that going to be a 12 pull? Whoa! So
okay.
He does play a middle of the road build.
I guess he does not like to take a risk against Soulkey, who's not good at micro. I guess as long as he plays safe and get the middles out, I think he thinks he can win the game. So yeah, Beast is not gonna be taking any risk going for 12 hatchery, and that is an interesting overlord scout. His second overlord is sending diagonally.
Well, Soulkey gonna come in here and see that there is no hatch just yet. So when he does see the delayed hatch come in, he's going to know that he's going to be facing a 12 pull here. I think he's going to be not too happy about this opener that he's opted into. Now, meanwhile, Soulkey has 100 gas. Where's it going to go? It is going to go into speed. So he is going to rely heavily on his Ling micro to try and knock this hatch down.
Yeah, that is a 9 pull speed. It is incoming, and Beast is definitely needs to be aware of those any kinds of early 6 Zergling aggression. He's not gonna be taking a risk to make an additional drone over here. We're gonna be seeing him taking out maybe 1 drone off from the gas and also getting the metabolic boost. So the matching with the Zergling speed versus Zergling speed, and yeah, he gets to see those 6 Zergling now coming. He should be pulling a couple of drones, maybe a couple or 3 drones here.
Well, there's the first one, but he takes an engagement before the drones and Lings get down there in time. Now he's got everything synced up. Let's see how well he can micro this. Remember, speed is going to be a few seconds faster for Soulkey, so it's going to start to get really, really chaotic in the next couple seconds.
Yeah, Beast also needs to be careful with his Zergling movement because when Soulkey starts getting all those metabolic bits done, yeah, here's now he has the Zergling speed. And he might be doing some splitting up his Zergling and try to do some run by how like Soma was doing it against 815. And now look at the hatchery. The hatchery has gone down to almost 50% low HP.
He catches a Ling and he catches a drone. Now Beast is going to have larva advantage, but for now, that's what, like a 3 to 4 Ling advantage for Soulkey. But he's decided that he's dealt enough damage. He's going to back off for now. And behind this, Fire has started. Meanwhile, Lair hasn't even started for Beast.
Well, judging by none of the players has lost any Zergling, and Beast only lost a single drone. So I wouldn't say Beast is completely behind. He does have the larva advantage over here, and he knows he's gonna be crushing in next moment with the third overlord popping out. Yes, the third overlord just popped out. So he just got the third overlord popping out from the natural. He's gonna be squeezing all of his larvae for maybe extra Zergling for the aggression, or he's just gonna play safe and try to go for a macro game here.
Well, this is a big Ling attack coming in from Beast. He's continuing to build Lings. He does have Lair morphing at that natural. But with the ramp, this is going to be hard to get up. But I like that Overlord position, making it really hard to set up that concave. But still, Soulkey's got a really nice setup. Still, Beast is trying to go for it. Remember, he's got like 10 more Lings coming behind. And will he be able to actually get up here? It looks like I think he's going to. Oh, maybe not.
Well, just by looking at how many of the Zerglings Beast right now are making, I think he's trying to waste, trade all those Zergling before the Mutalisk comes out. Yeah, I mean, look at it. Just only one egg for Soulkey. Soulkey was getting all of the pressure by Beast, and now okay, the Spire is somewhat getting focused down by the couple of Zerglings, but okay, this is not a good trade for Beast here.
Yeah, I also thought that Spire was a little bit isolated, but not going to be the case. Now, we do have Evolution Chamber started. Spore colonies or sunken creep colonies are starting to be built, but this one Muta is actually going to get to the natural before the Evolution Chamber is done, so he may be able to take down a couple drones.
I think that Evolution Chamber was not built. I mean, maybe it didn't make, just like how I was saying all the time when he plays on stream. So, I mean, he had those pre-colony ready, but he didn't have the Evolution Chamber. So now those drones are getting sniped for no reason. This is not looking great.
Oh, he gets 3 already. He may actually get a 4th. Okay, but he is going to take a lot of damage on those Mutalisks. Now, meanwhile, okay, that's what I was waiting to see. Is there a Spore at the top? Now, this is always the question for me. Is the Spore colony placed properly at the top where he can continue to mine gas, or can actually Mutas kill it when they shoot from like the top left angle?
Well, I think if he start harassing, as you say, top left angle, yes, he can take that extractor down. But with the number of Mutalisk count, I don't think he can do it yet. But Soulkey is on a great position here. I see him not cutting his gas deal. He's constantly mining his gas with 3 drones, and now those Zerglings are gonna be doing some great amount of damage at the natural, and now this barricade for Beast is just not helping him to survive. I mean, the Zergling count went down to 3 versus how many? Is that 8?
Yeah, there's no way that Beast is going to hold this. He's doing his darndest. Drone falls, all the Lings are going to fall. This forces out more Lings from Beast, who really wants to be building drones right now. And behind this, Soulkey, he's going to be setting up for taking his natural. If he loses his Spore, the game's over, because then Ling can just run in freely.
Yeah, now drones are trying to go for the fight and trying his best, but it's not working well here at the moment. Building another creep colony for something, maybe it can be a sunken colony, but we at the same time seeing Soulkey is saving up his Vespene gas and also putting down the second hatchery at the natural. I still don't see any Spire attack going off for Beast. This is not looking great to me.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a Ling counterattack, and the Mutas are completely out of position right now in terms of defending the Lings. So this could be a way for Beast to kind of salvage the game, counterattack the natural, and deny that hatchery. Meanwhile, okay, he is not going to be able to take down that Spore, and Soulkey's going to have to turn around right now.
Yeah, those Zerglings are going in. I think 7 Zergling might be enough to take a couple of the drones. Okay, he will be trying his best to pick one drone.
I'm not too sure about that decision making. I thought maybe, okay, you can get the hatch or get the Spire if you surround it, but to go for the drones, not too sure about that, but regardless, Spire has finally started for Beast, but it's already an 8 supply lead when total supply is only 32 versus 22. So a big advantage for Soulkey, and he already has like 8 Mutalisks in the air.
Yeah, those 8 Mutalisks with probably getting armor 1 or even +1 attack for the Mutalisks, and probably Soulkey is going to be constantly ahead with the upgraded advantage. And okay, yeah, now we get to see Beast is putting down the second extractor where Soulkey still doesn't have it yet. Though Zergling needs to do significantly amount of great damage in order to catch up this game, and now these Mutalisks are gonna be sniping a drone.
I wonder if Soulkey realizes, well, of course, I'm not sure, but I think he can get that extractor at top left. But for now, he hasn't done so, or at least attempted to try to pick that off. Now, meanwhile, Lings are continually trying to pressure this natural. He does get a drone, but he's going to lose 6 Lings for it.
Yeah, he did get 1 drone, and 2 more drones just came out from the main base, and it's just not looking great for Beast. Okay, Beast finally got the Spartak finished. What can he actually do? Okay, he still has Soulkey doesn't have the second gas yet, but he's leading with the meter count here.
Here we go. Ling's going to try and combo with the Mutas to take down this Spore. That Spore is going to die quite quickly, and I know for a fact that that extractor is isolated and the drone line is isolated. So Soulkey, he's just going to compound his Muta lead because now Beast cannot even mine gas at his nat anymore.
Yeah, kind of find those Spore colony placement doesn't seem that great to protect the second gas over here. And yeah, I mean, Beast is trying to find some chance to go for the counterattack with the Zergling, but I think Soulkey is definitely aware of any kind of Zergling backstab move, so he has some Mutals at the natural sitting to protect. Okay, yeah, there are a couple of Mutals will be standing at the nat and defend all of the Zergling harassment, but Scourge,
their Ling attack into the natural, not going to be successful. He takes down 1 drone, loses 4 Lings, and he lost Scourge. And now that supply lead has reached 15, and again, no nat gas, +1 armor for Soulkey also, so that is a huge upgrade in ZVZ. It would completely change the fight, even if it was even. So, and he's going to lose an Overlord. I mean, this is just not going according to plan for Beast. I really liked the early game with the 12 pull. It was a good counter, I thought, but just did not work out for him. He's going to have to just go for a miracle. I mean, if you're in this position as Zerg, I think your best option is to try and go for Hive. Like, what else can you build that's effective versus an overwhelming amount of Mutas?
Taking on a hidden expansion and try to catch up with the meter count, but that will never work in pro level because I'm not sure what that is at the 11 o'clock side. Maybe it can be an Overlord just by looking at the sight range. I think that can be an Overlord for Soulkey, and Soulkey is pretty much aware of any kinds of hidden expansion. There's no option for Beast. I mean, as soon as wow, if you probably just take down.
Yeah, not only loses the drone, doesn't even get a cancel on that colony. Now Soulkey does come in here and see the 3rd hatch. I don't see a 3rd hatch for Soulkey, but I mean, it's not a huge deal. Okay, Scourge connects and actually kills the Mutalisk. Unfortunately, he needs that to happen about 15 more times to even up the score. Oh my gosh, he picks off another drone, and now it's almost a 30 supply lead for Soulkey. He's gonna kill that extractor too.
It's painful to watch how Extractor is taken down. And Creek Colony, oh my god, instantly getting sniped. So, not just losing 75 mineral, you're also losing a drone count. So that's like more than a 125 mineral Beast just lost there.
Yeah, this is just clinical from Soulkey here. He is ransacking him. I actually want to see Soulkey like bring a drone and just sunken rush this guy, because then it forces Beast to fight. Like, he can't just sit there anymore. So I would hope to see that. I don't think we're gonna see that, but that would be a pretty cool follow-up. Now again, okay, he's actually going to engage on the Spores, and this is one way that you can throw the game.
Well, he's not taking too much of a risk. He did take down the 1 Spore colony top of the extractor, so that's a good sign for him to constantly deny the second extractor as much as he can. And now the supply gap is double amount of supply count differences now. Pre-colony is taking the damage.
Good control there from Beast to shadow the Muta movement from Soulkey to make sure that that colony does get up. Now, will the Spore actually survive? I don't think so. Yeah, he's going to pick this off. But Beast does deal a bit of damage and actually kills the Mutalist. I think you got to take that trade. A drone and a Spore colony for a Muta is about as good as it's going to get for him. But again, the Extractor's gone, so he just can never catch up.
Yeah, those are two good Muta macro by Soulkey, just constantly picking up the Creek colony. Ooh! The top side of a Spore colony also taken down by the splash damage, I would say.
Yep, goodbye Spore at the top, and now there's only one Spore remaining. Slowly but surely, Soulkey is going to take this game. Another colony gets taken down before it can even morph. And I think now Soulkey, oh, he can get the evolution chamber.
Yeah, he's trying to hit from the long range, and now he's gonna go in. He knows his Muta count is way too large. Just gonna be crushing at
Jeez. Did you see that at the end? He had +2 armor, and Beast had +1, so it was nice, but unfortunately, just could never recover from the early stages of the game. And Soulkey, he's going to be our winner, and that's going to set us up with a Soulkey versus Rush winners match.
That was interesting. I would say, like, I mean, he's not bad at micro. He showed all those mind game with the Zergling, and he didn't lose the Zergling fight at the high ground ramp. Like, Beast was squeezing all of his resource for extra Zerglings as soon as the third overlap popping out from the natural. And he wanted to trade those Zergling as much as he can, but I mean, Soulkey was just defending really, really well with that many of Zergling remaining at his main base.
I mean, to me, everything looked pretty much perfect, and it allowed him to seal the victory. And unfortunately, Beast is going to be knocked down into the losers bracket. But of course, he's not out just yet. He'll be facing off versus Barracks. But now, I think we're going to be going into a commercial, and then we're going to be coming up with our winners match, which is, of course, Rush versus Soulkey.
Oh,
nope, yeah, there it is. I always get debated by the hot 6. Looks like we're going to commercial, but not the case.
Yeah, those hot 6 commercial.
Well, Rush versus Soulkey, what are your thoughts on this? Because Soulkey, when I watch him, he tends to play like low eco builds. Like, can we just expect to see the typical 2-hatch, 2-minute extractor, or does he do something completely unique to himself?
I think Soulkey is one of the type of player who does not like to go for 3-hatchery. Like Queen, he likes to do 3-hatch sometimes, especially on a 4-player map. Like, we have seen Queen going for 3-hatch build against JYJ last season on the best of 5 series. And Soulkey is, I would say, opposite of how Queen likes to play. He likes to play 2-hatch Muta or 2-hatch Tex or something like that. And I think it's just most likely he's going to be showing like how Soma is going to be played.
It's kind of weird to hear that he's opposite of Zero, because I know in the foreign scene a lot of people think of Soulkey as like Zero Jr. So to hear that he is completely different is a little bit shocking. I also like that you mentioned that he doesn't play 3-hatch often, because we saw Queen yesterday. Remember, he went for that 3-hatch on right? He went for 3-hatch on location, I think, versus Terran, if I remember correctly, on Eclipse.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it would be curious to see if Soulkey pulls out something similar versus Rush here, if, of course, we get an Eclipse game. Of course, into the rain, chugging that thing, man. Look at him go. He's done. It's like he opens it, 5 seconds later, it's gone.
Yeah, I guess he's really good at drinking those hot 6. I can't drink that. I cannot drink like that.
We can see that the commentators, I guess, keep checking to see how much time they got left. So I think we'll be going into commercial in just a second. Trying to read his body language in the middle.
I heard Asian language is hard to read. The reading the mouth or reading the lips, they're pretty hard.
Well, I can't even understand Korean even when I can hear the words, so it's impossible for me. All right, yeah, we're gonna be going to a break, so don't go anywhere, guys. We are back, guys. We just saw Soulkey absolutely dismantle Beast, and that's going to set us up with a TVZ between probably my favorite Terran these days, Rush. He has just improved so much the past 2 years. We'll see if he can finally make it into the round of 8 and potentially round of 4. Then, of course, Soulkey, he's looking to make a splash too. But remember, Beast was pointing out that his ZVZ was a little bit weak, and unfortunately for him this time around, there are a ton of Zergs waiting in the round of 8.
Yeah, once again, another Zerg players make it, a lot of Zerg players has made it into quarterfinal all the time, and I'm not sure whether it's gonna be happening the same thing once again for this ASL Season 12. I would like to see some Terran players climbing up more for quarterfinal. I mean, wasn't there only a single Terran last season? I think Rush was the only Terran who made it into quarterfinal last season, isn't he?
I can't remember, but that could be true. I do remember Rush getting eliminated by Larva, I think, right? So Rush, of course, is a very good player. We got our map set. Our first map of the series is going to be on Good Night. I noticed that we did not have any Lemon, so that's a bit disappointing. Let's get into our first game, folks. That's going to be Rush versus Soulkey. So in the bottom left, our Terran player, it is none other than Rush. And in the top left, again, going to get off the first scout, it is our Zerg, Mr. Soulkey. So you mentioned before we went into the break that Soulkey tends to just play pretty standard 2-hatch play. Is he someone that likes to go for crazy Zerg-like action?
I don't quite remember, but I'm pretty sure he's the one of those Zerg players who likes to make almost like 2 groups of mutalisks and go for the heavy pressure. Or I would say, we saw someone's game on Largo. I think it was Light versus Queen. Was it Light versus Queen on Largo yesterday?
Yeah, we did, where Queen unburrowed his lurkers and then Light just instantly pounced on him.
Yeah, I can't really remember everything, but so there's a one moment where Zerg players makes a lot of mutas, almost like 2 groups of muta, and they tend to crush all those numbers of Marine Medic in the center of the map, and once they win that huge fight in the middle, Zerg players pretty much make a lot of drones, and Soulkey is the type of Zerg player who likes to make a lot of muta. But before that, we see AREX incoming by Rush.
Yep, it is going to be an aggressive opener, and luckily for Soulkey, he's going to first scout it. And again, this is that forward racks like we saw Light use yesterday on Lemon, which I thought was an interesting racks placement, but again, we're seeing it here. It's going to allow that Marine to pop out on the right side of the map and just get across the map ever so slightly faster. Now, the Overlord is going to see the racks and know that, hey, this was an 8 racks. And luckily for Rush, he's going to find him with the first scout.
Yeah, that Overlord is not going to be spotted for Rush, and Rush won't be able to figure out until that scouting SCB arrives to 11 o'clock, and he will realize, hey, what? He's going to be turning his face to 1 o'clock?
I don't know exactly what.
Oh,
it's because he saw the Overlord come out, and I think Soulkey sent it back to the corner of the base. So he thought he was coming from top right. What a very intelligent play from Soulkey here. It's going to buy him more time than he should. And those drones that should be pulled off the mineral line already, they're just continuing to mine right now.
Yeah, we also see Soulkey definitely knows this is an the first Overlord scout has confirmed this is an 8 racks opening. He didn't even build extractor. He didn't build nor even cancel the extractor. So he does have that even number of a resource. He did not lose any of a resource in the early stage of the game, and now he pulls out tons of drone. How many is this? 6, 10? I would say about 10 drone, and now trying to go for the sniping or surround those Marine, but those Marine.
Rush has some of the best 8 racks I've ever seen, and this time around, not as effective as it could have been. He did get 3 drones, though. Is that enough damage, or did Soulkey hold this nicely?
I would personally say he did hold it really nicely, but making an 8 Zergling as soon as the spawning pool finishes, I think that can be a little disappointing decision making here. And now Barracks is gonna be open. Gotta land.
What are you doing?
Oh, I think it's gonna be save down time. Okay, 2 Zerglings will be jumping over, but it is not gonna be enough.
You have to be so careful to make that move, because a lot of times your units will move in and then your barracks can't land. So
Depot
Rush,
is burning.
yeah, Rush got lucky there, but he does have the 2 SCVs down there to repair. I have lost so many games where I go to land my racks, but my SCV or Marine just barely blocks and it doesn't land, and I'm like, oh, thank you. I love when this happens. So nicely done by Rush, and clutch play to hold that position. Now behind this, Soulkey actually has a lot of resources. Okay, he already has his lair. I thought he didn't even have his first 100 gas mined.
I have a feeling like with that many of a drone right now Soulkey has, and with that amount of resources, I feel like it is gonna be the inner 3 hatch once again. Okay, we see there's another hatchery. It's gonna be morphed at the high ground ramp. Yeah, there's a hatchery, or also an extractor. That's a somewhat fast extractor, I would say.
Yeah, it seems pretty quick for how the game has gone. Also, that 3rd hatch seems pretty quick too. So that just tells you how well Soulkey ended up holding that 8 racks. And yesterday we saw a lot of play like this from Queen, and his macro was on point in the early to mid stages of the game, pretty much keeping even with light. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that supply, and probably we're going to have that mutiling fight that you were talking about, how Soulkey likes to use once Rush starts moving out in the middle of the map.
Interestingly, that the natural barracks is somehow the Marine is coming out inside. So that is somewhat interesting, I would say. I thought the Marine was going to be coming out from the outside, but never mind, I was wrong. So okay, so now Rush is going to be having that 2 racks thing together. Let me follow up with the eBay. Everything so far is standard after the 8 racks pressure. But the good thing for Soulkey is that he has the larva advantage. He had that quicker 3 hatchery inside of his base, and he still has enough money for another hatchery. I would say this is somewhat greedy, I would say.
Yeah, I was also thinking that this is a bit greedy. Here comes the move out, and that Spire is not done yet.
Oh.
So I'm sure Soulkey will hide this drone to make sure that it doesn't just instantly die. And you can see Rush is sending out an SCV at the same time. I love this move because, you know, some Zergs do randomly put a hatchery at like a diagonal base, and it is hard to scout that. So I love the SCV coming out at the same time, and it also forces the Lings to make a decision. Am I following the Marines or am I following the SCVs?
Yeah, that is definitely true about this, and I like that second SCV scout all the way up to 1 o'clock. Yeah, he's pretty much trying to figure out whether this is gonna be a 3 hatchery Muta or 4 hatchery Muta, like before making the Muta and start already morphing the hatchery. And once those hatcheries are already complete, that Soulkey is gonna be having all those larva advantage in the beginning of the game. And some Zerglings got picked up in the middle of the map, and now Rush is going to be pulling all of his Marine back because he knows there's no expansion. There's no expansion was taken by Soulkey. He does not need to do any sort of a pressure with the M&M, so he's going to be focusing on defending his expansion. Pretty sure the turn has been completed at the natural already.
Yes, but we do know where the hatch is going to be placed. It's going to be top right. And yesterday we saw Light branch off like between 5 and 10 Marines in the mid game. I wonder if Rush will also branch off a few Marines to try and snipe that 3rd base in a couple minutes. So far he has not done that. And this is one of the downsides of the wall, is the depot can be isolated, but I think the trade-off for it is well worth it. Oh, medic gets picked off. That's nicely done from Soulkey. You never want to lose a medic as a Terran, and that's a lot of Lings coming out.
Yeah, that is a lot of Zerglings have been made by Soulkey. We see those missile turret. That's a very compact 4 missile turret was built at the natural, and now Peace M&M needs to be careful because there are a handful of, or I would say a dozen of Mutalists, and 2 groups of Zerglings are trying to surround that M&M later on once those M&M moves out way too far. Oh, the M&M is split up in half.
Oh yes, this happens to me often where one group goes to the top, the other goes to the bottom, and it's like, well, how did that happen? And we, as you mentioned, Soulkey likes to go for Ling, Muta, and fight in the center, so this could be his opportunity to get rid of half of the bio ball. But it looks like Rush is aware of that, and he synced up the rest of his army, and this is a pretty strong force. Does not have +1 though.
Yeah, for some reason +1 did not even finish at 8:30, 8:40ish mark, and we see the natural is completely vulnerable. Yeah, there's no bunker whatsoever. Okay, there's a 6 Marine, but I'm not sure whether this is enough.
Well, this is going to be a weird scenario because now Rush is just going to attack Soulkey's natural, but remember, there are 2 Sunkens there. Soulkey, I don't see more Sunkens. Okay, now he's just started, but is it too late? Because this is a ton of bio. Now Soulkey's going to send the Mutalist back because he realizes, hey, Lings can probably clean this up in the main, but Rush's attack is pretty darn strong. He's going to try and make it happen.
Yeah, those are Marine without the medic. I don't think that's a good idea.
And +1 did just kick in, but it looks like there's just too many Mutalists, and half of the barracks have already died.
Yeah, I think this is painful to watch. I mean, 2 barracks is just completely gone. I mean, 2 racks, 2 port. I mean, how are you going to be holding off against a Zerg who has 4 hatchery? And with the larva advantage, he's going to be squeezing all of them Mutalists and Zerg. And now those 3 Sunkens pretty much supporting the well. And now those medics are not healing the Marine really well here. And now I think this is going to be GG.
Yep, GG comes out. So Rush just out of position for a moment. And Soulkey capitalizes, and he easily takes game 1. Well, obviously the move for Rush there was to not be that far forward, but everything else, it looked like he was hitting his build quite well. Soulkey, meanwhile, obviously clearly stopped the 8 Rex pretty darn good. Did you get a glimpse on what he was doing behind it? I didn't see Hydrogen or Hive at all, did we?
We didn't get to see whether Soulkey was planning to go for either Hydrogen or Hype Tech whatsoever, but I mean, if Rush knows Soulkey is not putting down the Hydrogen, he shouldn't have taken that action. I mean, he could have just constantly stay with M&M ball in the middle and just try to move, like try to pressure the opponent, like, hey, I'm moving out, and if he still doesn't have the Hydrogen, he doesn't really need to move out. As long as he's trying to keep up all those technology up, all the way up to Science Vessel, that's the key part of the Terran, moving into the mid-late game transition.
Yeah, just a little bit of an overextension from Rush. That's something that I saw him do, you know, a year and a half ago, and that's one of the reasons that I didn't like him for a long time. Is he's just so aggressive, and you can see him shake his head right there. He knows that he kind of just made a big mistake. I'm sure he's aware, and we'll fix it in game 2. Let's get into game 2. I think the map said Largo. See if Soulkey can close out the series.
It's Eclipse, actually.
Oh, Eclipse. In the bottom left, we have our Terran player down 0-1. It is Rush. And in the top right, with some nice Ling and Muta play, it is Soulkey. Okay, I saw the command center not blinking. I was like, whoa, what are we doing? Are we going to have like a 5 racks or something?
So far, this is one of the map Rush is really good at playing against Zerg. Eclipse, he's absolutely beast. Like, he has almost like 100% win rate against Zerg on Eclipse. Like, it's just kind of like a guarantee win for Rush. And I would like to see how well Soulkey is going to be performing against Rush, who's actually good at playing against Zerg on Eclipse.
Well, if his win rate is so high, I'm a bit surprised Soulkey would let that get through. And I think this might actually be another 8 racks. Nope, it is just going to be the depot. He did line it up perfectly with the 100 minerals. Now Soulkey, on the other hand, he did go for the Overlord. We'll wait and see if it's going to be an overpool.
It would have been funny if Soulkey was going for 4 pull, because all the Terran players go for the depot with the Barracks wall at the natural all the time. So that could have been a chance, like how 815 was doing it against Sock, but we're not going to be seeing it this game. Soulkey looks like he's feeling confident, like he defended A-Racks nice and clean. He's feeling confident he's gonna be. Is that a spawning pool?
That looks. Yeah, looks like it is a spawning pool. I didn't get the exact timing. I think this is a 12 pool though. So for me, this is actually one of the most dangerous builds that I face because just like in Zerg versus Protoss, Zerg denies the SCV from getting in, and then you're stuck in limbo as Terran. Okay, what are they actually doing? Are they going lurkers? Are they going for mutas? Because there is a wall, all of a sudden lurkers become extremely punishing. You can bust down double depots.
I see.
Oh,
what
it is
this
going to be 3-hatch?
Yeah, it looks
What
like
is-
a 3-hatch to me.
So it is going to be the 3-hatch that you said he doesn't like to play. There goes that drone, and it looks like he's probably going to take on location top middle base, like we saw like we saw Queen do the other day.
This is my first time seeing 12 pull into 3-hatch. I mean, normally if you're going for 3-hatch, you kind of do 9 pull or over pull into 3-hatch, but 12 pull into 3-hatch, this is my first time seeing it. Not just on an Eclipse, like in generally, if you want to go for 3-hatch, you want to get those Zergling out quicker than the regular timing in order to kind of force Terran players to pull out an SCV, pull out some SCV, or even force them to build a bunker. But I'm not sure what this beneficial move for this.
Well, even though I do like 12 pool, I like it with fast gas, so we'll see how well this can work out for Rush. Yesterday, I think we saw Light Rush +1 weapon versus this, and if I remember correctly, it didn't go that well for him. We'll see what Rush wants to go for. I imagine he's going to go for Fast Academy and put some pressure on that third base.
This is somewhat reminds me of like how ZVP is played, where you make an overpull and make 2-4 Zergling and try to cut the probe here, and this is what I'm exactly seeing. Okay, now Rush, he should be knowing there's supposed to be a hatchery somewhere. I mean, that extractor timing is just really slow. Okay, Soulkey just spent 100 investment gas. I would like to see whether that is going to be Lair. Okay, it is Lair, not the Zergling speed. How? Who was it? Who went for Zergling speed first? Was that Queen?
I can't remember, honestly. I'm just keeping my eyes on Rush's base, and I noticed that was a 345 gas, and it's going to be like a 4-minute academy, so it's not a super fast academy. So I don't know how much pressure he can actually deal to this third base. That is 7 Marines though, and they are out of sight of the Overlord. And actually, that's a 415 academy, so it's even slower than I was anticipating.
That is definitely a lot of Marines are out, and also the academy timing, it doesn't seem too fast to me. He got 7 Marine out first, and then the academy started later on. Okay, with the 7 Marine, maybe he can go for the pressure, but all the Overlords have a great position of having all those intel and seeing where the Marine is moving out or whatnot.
Well, here comes a 2-lane counterattack, and it actually will be successful, maybe. He takes down 1 Marine, that's nice. And he should be able to get off a decent scout. Maybe not. Okay, he saw the Marine come down from the main, so he should know that this is a 2-Rex, not fast eBay. Meanwhile, SCV comes in, sees exactly when the Spire starts, so that's nice. This is going to be pretty slow mutas, actually. I'm surprised he put down Comsat after getting a scout off like that.
How many Comsat station did he get?
It looked like just 1, but still, that's SCVs that could have been made. Oh, he got double Comsat.
I'm not sure about getting the double Comsat because you kind of want to have those SCV, like making more of a SCV and get some power, the economic boost in the early stage. And he just scanned. I think he just scanned at 12 o'clock site. Okay, yes, he did scan the 12 o'clock site and see there are only 3 drones.
Yeah, I think he's also wanting to confirm that, okay, your Spire seems a little slow. Did you hide a Hydrogen anywhere? He also did, of course, see the low drone count, so he knows that a round of Lings were built. So you can see, even though he has medics, he's hesitant to move out just yet. He's going to wait for that stim to kick in, I'm sure, before actually making an attempt. And we can see that Soulkey is sharking with around maybe 12 or so Lings, 15 Lings, something like that.
Yeah, here's a lot of scans going off. And just by looking at this 3-hatch Muta build, it just kind of reminds me of 2 hatch into a 3 hatch into an expansion Muta build. Where, you know, like Zerg players, whenever they're playing 2 hatch Muta, they have those main base and natural base completely saturated with full drone. And he does have full drone, all those 2 bases, but just a couple drone, like maybe 4 or 5 drones at the 3rd expansion. And now he's already putting on the extractor. Like, how fast? Okay, that's a Queen's Nest already. Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be fast high follow-up. Now, we didn't see an evolution chamber anywhere, so even though he has a fast 3rd gas, this is not crazy Zerg. I'm actually feeling like that this could potentially be Guardian Hydra, maybe?
Guardian Hydra, that can be very spicy one. We see, I'm not sure how many. Okay, that's an 8 Mutalisk, but I feel like Soulkey, I feel like Soulkey is just gonna go for picking some SCB later on once he has great amount of Mutalisk count. And I mean, just by looking at Rush's tech, it seems really fast. 7:30 and the starport is already done.
Yep, and we do see that the Hydrogen is done, so this could potentially be the Hydra Guardian. We'll find out momentarily if that's the case. Meanwhile, I did see Rush is building his starports up, so Science Facility is going to be starting and Vessel's going to be coming out pretty soon. But for now, he is rock solid on the defense, just keeping the Mutas at bay. But, I mean, Zerg's have been on 3 bases for quite a long time.
I like how Rush is not moving out like the last game where he moved out. He moved out with all of his army and ended up getting the backstab by the Muta Zergling counter. And this time he's not actually doing that kind of move. We see the Evolution Chamber is also going up. And yeah, that Zerg egg is pretty much annoying him a lot. Okay. He just found a sweet spot, picking up 2 SCV.
That is the sweet spot, or is it? He's now forced to exit the base, taking turret shots. One thing I did notice in Rush's main that I'm most impressed by is he doesn't have any turrets at his barracks, yet he was still able to defend it. And we do see the first couple Hydras are out. This is the moment. Are we going to see Defiler? Okay, it looks like Defiler Mound did get built. Okay, it is Lurker, so it is not going to be Guardian Lurkers. I'm a bit sad by that. Or Guardian Hydra, I mean.
Maybe Soulkey might gonna go for Lurker, Zergling, Hydra, Defiler play. I don't know where I've seen that before, but I have a great feeling Soulkey is not interested of going for Ultraless Cavern here.
Well, my personal opinion is Lurker, Hydra, Defiler. I think that might be the best comp Zerg has because Plague Darkstorm is brutal, especially once Hydras can one-shot from range. Now here comes a stemmed attack from Rush. I don't know about this. I'm getting flashbacks to how Rush played a couple years ago. Over eager. You could see that his medics weren't even in position, so I'm a bit worried even if he does take this game. I'm worried about him in game 3. But we do see Macro Hatch going down. Defiler Mound is done, so Defiler and Hydras and Lurkers and a ton of Mutalisks are going to be coming out.
That is definitely a lot, but
oh my
Vessel does not have enough energy.
Oh, for now, the Mutas have really not done a lot of damage, and he is just going to back off. He is cognizant that those vessels are laying and waiting. Meanwhile, Rush still moving around with his bio ball, trying to find some straggler units. Oh, actually, that vessel did have energy. The other one only had 65, I think.
I wonder what that army is at the right side of the center. Like, he's moving forward. Is that just small force?
I think it is just a tiny army that he's actually kind of getting away with murder, running it around. Now, okay, I think, yeah, I hate this position also. I always leave a medic in the mineral line because you just can't save these SCVs, but you can heal them a little bit. I mean, I don't really have a good answer because I think Rush's turret placement was pretty darn good. Now, double evolution chamber.
Double evolution chamber, as you mentioned. And a lot of hatcheries. Is that another hatchery being morphed? So that must be the 3rd hatchery was to start morphing at the ramp, at the main base ramp. I mean, yeah, I can understand Soulkey has enough money for a hatchery, but adding that much of a hatchery all of a sudden with 3 base complete saturation. Like I said earlier, I feel like this is going to be Hydra Lurker play.
It does feel like Hydra Lurker. We haven't seen any upgrades for Soulkey just yet. He put down another hatch? Geez, so this guy has like 8, maybe 7 hatches right now. Finally, Darkstorm has come out, so the Lurkers are going to push units back with the orange cloud. But that is a lot of vessels out. I think it's like 4 or 5. So he's going to have a lot of irradiates.
Yeah, look at that hatchery count at the main base. 4 hatchery on the ramp. So, I mean, yes, Soulkey is going to be having that power of larvae and pretty much squeezing up. I mean, 4 hatchery, let's say you can make 6 Zergling at a time, then that's like 2 dozens of Zergling coming out from that 4 hatchery. So that is just going to be disgusting.
Oh, and look at that. He is reading Soulkey like a book. Catching that drone. You are not going to hide a base, sir. If you want to take a base, you're going to have to fight me in the center of the map. Now, once those hatches complete, we're going to see a huge swell of supply for Soulkey, but he's giving a lot of time to rush to slowly just build up the vessel count. And that's going to be another denied base at top middle. That's 100% going to get taken out. Or maybe not. Did he miss the drone? Oh, yeah.
I think the plague is ready.
There is the plague, and there are the hydras. So it is Hydra Lurker, like you mentioned. Double evolution chamber means we're probably going to see +1 weapon for the hydras and lurkers coming out pretty soon too. But third base already done for Rush. Now I'm not sure if he realizes that this is Hydra Lurker. Okay, there's no add-on for the BCs, so I guess he still has the option to build factories. But I think he just added on factory. Added onto his factory in the center of the map right now. But here comes those lurkers and hydras, and that's a brutal plague.
Yeah, I think Rush misread Soulkey's intention over here. I mean, adding the factory right now, it seems a little too late to me right now because, I mean, the Hydralisk has the speed already. I don't know if it has the range upgrade or whatnot, but just having that Hydra speed already, Soulkey's just going to be having massive amounts of army coming out from those 5, 6, 7 hatchery total. 7 hatchery total macro is just going to be insanely amount of army will be just coming out in a straight line.
Okay. He doesn't lose that much, but Hydra Lurker is so hard to face with just Marine Medic. You can see he doesn't even have armor on his Marines just yet, so he can't really engage the Lurkers, even though they don't have upgrades, or damage upgrades, I mean. Now, I think that is triple factory outside of his base, so tank count is going to ramp up pretty fast.
Yeah, 1-1 upgrade is done for Soulkey. That is looking great to him, but at the same time, Soulkey is taking the first expansion. If Rush is moving all of his forces to 12 o'clock side, he needs to make a decision because now it's getting sandwiched from the right side. Okay, he did break the left side. He should be merging to his left side of the army, but that plague on the silence vessel is just so hurting him right now.
Yeah, and all those vessels got plagued too, and this attack is going to be pushed back, and now Zerg is going to be on 4 bases, and Soulkey's drone count was insane across all of his bases. That's what you need when you play this style, and there's a reason he has 7 or 8 Oh, what is he doing? He's just going to try and suicide for 1 lurker?
I think that's what we are right now. The armor 2 is already done. Okay, the Hydralisks are moving towards to the left side. If he walks to the left side, the vessels are on a low HP. Yes, he's going to be popping all the science vessels with the 1 shot here. Oh.
I think this style is just so strong because as Terran, when you play heavy Marine Medic, you don't want to be building factories and tanks. You want to go into vessels, you want to go into BCs. So these tanks are late, and that gives Zerg the map control to start taking bases. Top middle has been taken. Bottom right, I think, will be taken pretty soon. And Hydra Lurker with the Dark Swarm support just trades so effectively that Soulkey may be able to just shut down the 4th base. Now, I think those tanks on the left side got caught. You can see that there's a small amount of units on the left side that are not synced up with the rest of the army, so that's a great catch from Soulkey. Another good plague.
Yeah, I think those Zergling pretty much ate up all those siege tanks. Nicely done. And it's good to know Rush has that +3 attack upgrade completed, and he has the upgrade advantage. But he still needs to be speeding up and somehow deny that Soulkey's expansion. Soulkey has all those map control. He's trying to get all those map control, and plus also get the vision at the 5 o'clock side. And if he realize there's any no any of the units at the bottom right side, he'll be start also morphing some hatcheries over there as well. And now all those Rush's Eminem moving towards the left side, but those Zerglings are eating up those Siege tanks for free.
Yep, two tanks fall, and this isn't even a big attack, but with Plague like that, and then Hydras, they just do this, they sit under Dark Swarm. This time we don't see them just one-shot that many Marines, but this is what you do. I mean, look at that! He just pokes out and he's goodbye 2 Marines in an instant, and then he just backs off.
I feel like this is so insane how well Soulkey is doing the macro here. Those macro hatch, I mean, he's just getting so many of the Hydralisk and so many of the Zergling at the same time, and now Hydralisk has to upgrade, and he's already taking the bottom right side too, so Rush can't split up his army. If Rush ever tends to split up his army, try to crush that 5 o'clock expansion, his 3rd expansion or 4th expansion, one of the other expansion will be so vulnerable.
Well, here we go. A Ling Hydra single Defiler attack. No lurkers at all. That could come back to haunt Soulkey. He is going to push up. These Marines and Medics are doing a great job to buy time. But with the Dark... Oh, this may have been a bit of a botch. That's another great Plague, but it's not getting the damage that I think he really wants. Meanwhile, a Vessel and a small counterattack to top middle from Rush. Okay, he does end up cleaning up all those tanks, and those Hydras do breach the 3rd base.
Yeah, I think Rush is not happy with this result. The command center is also getting focused down. SCV is also getting killed as well. And
Lurker. Yep, perfect. Denies the Marines from saving this base, and now he's going to kill all these SCVs.
Yeah, this seems really painful to watch. A lot of SCV has to take him down. Even Vessels are getting picked off.
Well, this is the danger, is there's a lot of Hydras there. Whether the Vessels are plagued or not, they can kill those high-tech units very fast. Those Vessels are extremely low too, and because these Zerg units have +2 weapon, the armor doesn't even really help the Terran player at all. That's a lot of tanks that are just isolated, and they're gonna fall. Well, there's no Defiler, so maybe he can save this.
Yeah, those Zerglings and Siege tank, those Zerglings and Hydralisk, they have a really good upgrade. They're pretty much killing all those Siege tank and look at Rush's face. He's disappointed of his play, and Soulkey is an absolute beast. He's just making out of this group so easily.
Yeah, what killer macro right there, and the unstoppable Rush on Eclipse. He ends up falling, and Soulkey is going to be our 1st place finisher. And everybody talks about how scary, crazy Zerg is. As I mentioned over and over, this style, I hate this style, because by the time you realize it's Hydra Lurker, it feels like it's too late. Like, the maximum amount of tanks that Rush had at any moment was just 6. And how do you deal with Hydra Lurker when he has 8 or 9 hatches coming at you?
Yeah, it's just absolutely brutal to watch how much of a Zerglings and Hydralisk are coming out at every moment. And we know Rush had a lot of barracks, so he had about 7 to 8 barracks with a heavy good amount of M&M count. But every time, like the moment where he takes the fight, like he wasn't actually winning. Like he was wasting it and losing all of his M&M by getting plagued and darkstormed by the lurkers, and it's just so painful to watch. We're moving into the interview. We have watched the ASL Season 12 Round of 16 Group D. The first player will be advancing into the quarterfinal. He will be Soulkey. Congratulations. Thank you. As the audience, when we are watching your game, you're absolutely crazy. You're absolutely beast and crazy. How do you feel about your performance tonight?
근데 경기력은 좀 좋았던 것 같아서 좀 뿌듯해요. 약간
he likes about his performance,
칭찬할 만한 경기력이 아니었나.
And so he's satisfied with the result, and he said he's pretty sure his fans will be also be happy with his performance. And the very first game, remember the moment where Beast was saying on the interview, "You're not good at micro." But you played super aggressive with the 9 speed. You showed how aggressive you are with the Zergling. And what makes you to do the 9 pool? Soulkey says, he just played his games just like usual, and he thinks everything went well for him because he slept a lot. when we looked at your play,
뭔가 안 풀리는 것
we
같아가지고
felt like you
내가
were
너무,
breaking your limit. You were
상대를
playing much better than
가리평가를 하고
before.
있었구나 생각이 들 정도로 좀 게임이 좀 쉽게 갔던
And
것
how
같아요.
were you practicing? How were you preparing for this round of 16? How was your practice?
상대 유닛이
And
밖에
he was
나가 있는 걸
saying
보자마자 굉장히
he
과감하게
did practice a lot, but at the end, when he made it out of this group, he kind of feels like he
그냥 뭔가 처음부터
he was
움직임이 뭐 어떻게든
overestimating his
opponent.
opponent.
들더라고요. 뭐내 뮤타를 생각 안 하고 신경 안 쓰고 그래서 그냥 그 움직임
So on the winners match game number 1 on good night,
공격적으로
what decided you to do the Mira Link backstab?
컨셉이 굉장히 궁금했습니다.
And he
빠르게
says
처리를 가고
he kind of felt like
상대
Rush is not
바이오닉
interested of
병력을
chasing my Mira
넣고 본진의
Mira
처리를
and
굉장히 많이
Zergling, so he decided to go for
이클립스 자체가
the
저가
backstab.
좀 힘든다고 생각을 많이들 하는데 저는 개인적으로 이렇게 힐을 하면은 히드라 럴커 위주의 지상 유닛을 하면은
So Soulkey says about the game number 2 on winners match, he says
어떻게든
a lot of
그냥
Zerg players do not like to play on
이길 거라고
Eclipse
생각을 했는데 좀
because it is hard to
유리하게
take the
했던 것
fourth
같아요,
gas,
게임 자체가. 그래서
but he thinks
쉽게 이길 수 있었던 것 같아요.
이클립스에서
from his
방어
perspective,
피드라에 대한
he
생각도
thinks it's
좀
different
생각을 이미
if
하고
he's
계셨고.
playing the Zergling, Hydra,
평소에도 많이
Lurker, and
하는데
Defiler
평소하던 사실 그대로 한
combination.
거예요. 근데 딱히 맞춤이 없나 봐요.
이제 정말 8강에서 김민철
So,
선수가
He says he
어떤
just played as
상대를
usual, like
만날지
how he
진짜
was practicing on online.
지금까지는 김민철
And things are
선수가
just working out
경기전
well,
좀 자신
but he thinks
없어 하는
opponents were not
팬들도
aware
편안하게
of his
보셨으면
play style
좋겠다라는 말씀을
or
해주셨다면
aware
이제는
of the
좀
Zergling
기대하면서 봐도 좋을 것
Hydra
같다라는
Lurker
말씀을
combo.
해주시지 않을까 싶은데요. 김민철 선수 어떠세요?
근데 하필 8강 상대들이 또 강한 상대들만 있더라고요.
What do you think about the round of 8?
노일장 선수, 김명훈
And he says there are a lot of a lot of strongest players, or a lot of strong players are waiting in round of 8.
정도거든요. 근데 2등 진출을 하고 싶었어요. 근데 할 수가 없네요.
So Soulkey says he wanted to advance into quarterfinal as a second player making out of this group.
과연 김민철 선수의 저저전을 8강에서도 다시 한번 볼 수 있을지도 굉장히
So
기대되는
since he
이번
made it out of
시즌입니다.
this group as a first
마지막으로
player, he
굉장히
cannot play
마음을
against
봤을
those
때지만 첫 세트
players who
경기에서
made it out of
마음을
the
푸셨을 것
made it out of the
같아요.
group as a
말씀해
first
주시죠.
player.
8강 이렇게 오늘 경기력 좀 믿을 만한 경기력이
And he
아니었나
last word to your
싶었는데
fans, and he says
8강에서도 좀 좋은 모습 보여드릴 수 있도록 연습 많이 해가지고 경기력을 보답하겠습니다.
he would like
다시 한번
to
8강 진출 축하드립니다.
make you guys happy
감사합니다.
watching his performance and
자, 이렇게 해서
enjoy.
오늘의 첫 번째 8강
enjoy
진출자
tonight's
저그
game,
김민철 선수와
and he will try his
함께
best
했습니다.
again for
계속해서
round of
여러분들을
8.
위해 준비된 이벤트 안내해
And we're also
드리겠습니다.
moving into
먼저 ASL
ASL
공식 방송국에서
Season
진행되는
12 event. Ask ASL. Go to
궁금한 점을
ASL
댓글로
mainstream
남겨주시면
platform,
선정된
leaving a
분께
comment,
커피,
ask a
기프티콘을
question there.
보내드리도록
You get a
하겠습니다.
coffee.
또 하나의
if your
이벤트는
comments get
아프리카 TV게임의
selected.
e스포츠
We
SNS를
also
통해
have the winners
진행됩니다.
winners
상위 라운드에 진출할 것
prediction
같은
event.
선수를 댓글로 남겨주시면
If your winners
추첨을 통해
prediction
ASL 텀블러
gets
보내드리도록
correct,
하겠습니다.
then you also get an ASL
자,
tumbler.
이어지는 패자전과 최종전 과연 마지막 8강행 티켓을 거머쥘 선수는
We are
어떤
also
선수가
waiting to see another
당첨이
player
되는
who will be
경기에
making it into quarterfinal. He still needs to be watching the losers match and decider match soon. So before that, we'll be moving into the commercial break. We'll be coming back soon.
ASL Season 12 Group D, our final losers match of the round of 8. It's going to be Beast versus Barracks, a Terran versus Zerg. Earlier, we saw both of the players get absolutely crushed, so you know both players are going to be trying their darndest to actually make it to the deciders match where Rush will be waiting. We could have a potential rematch between Rush and Barracks, so you know for sure Barracks definitely wants to win here.
Yeah, looks like Beast and Barracks are trying to get ready for the losers match, and looks like Beast is trying to do some mind game. Like I just saw him like I don't know, maybe trying to do some warm up on his fingers. During the interview, he said his fingers were hurting a lot because he did a lot of practices, and I hope it doesn't actually happen affect him too much for this losers match. And yeah, I mean, Zerg versus Terran, it's pretty much a micro-oriented. You gotta do a lot of Mira micro, and we see both of the players are banning Revolver. Interesting.
Yeah, and again, we've got another lemon game, so I'm very excited for this. Yesterday, we saw actually Queen be in a pretty good position versus Light, but Light with really, really sick Marine medic timings ended up taking the game. Let's see if Barracks can do a similar move versus Beast, or will Beast simply overrun Barracks like we saw Soulkey do versus Rush just a moment ago. Oh, I'm sad that is a drone morphing because I actually wanted the 4-pool really badly because we saw Light go for the wall at the entrance, and we saw Rush also wall at the entrance of Eclipse. It seems like Terrans, at least in this group, really are favoring the wall, so I'm a bit sad to see that. But we do have Beast at bottom left and Barracks at top left.
I'm looking at carefully of overlord scouting pattern. We see Beast is sending that overlord direction all the way up to 11 o'clock, so he's playing standard so far. And interestingly, we haven't seen much about TVZ on Lemon. We have seen only one game. I think it was just only one game, Queen versus Light. I wonder what Barracks is planning to do on this Lemon.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, is mech viable here? Because you have double gas pretty quickly.
I personally would say no, because if you try to remember how mech was played against Zerg, like 2-hatch Mira, 2-hatch, oh, what is this, 10 depot? But anyways, yeah, 2-hatch Mira versus mech. You know how Zerg doesn't really need to have third gas. Like, as long as Zerg has a lot of those mineral income, they get all those 4-hatchery, 5-hatchery up all the way, and then start squeezing a lot of Hydralis with the only 2 Vespene geysers mining from there. And interestingly, Barracks is not interested of going for any sort of expansion build.
Well, we saw somebody the other day float a factory in the Zerg's base. I don't think we're going to have a proxy factory this time around, but the Vultures did run by and get some damage done into the mineral line at the natural, so I wonder if Barracks is going to go for a similar move, or we may see, well, I guess I should ask here, can we see something like 2-port Wraith with a 10-10-10 opener?
Oh, it might be viable because there are two gases that you can mine from the main base, and I mean, with that 2-port Wraith, you can even go for a 3-port Wraith with that second gas, and maybe that might be one of the possibility, but never mind. Barracks is cutting his gas immediately as soon as he starts his factory.
Alright, so 10-10-10, you hurt your econ to get out a faster factory, but we see he pulled off of gas. So what is he looking to do with this Vulture? What's the intention here? How much damage does he need to get done?
Well, just by looking at the natural, how wide open it is for Beast to wall off, maybe without the add-on, making 2 Vultures will help him to have those Vultures sneaking inside of Beast's main base or natural, like underneath of the mineral line, and start denying that mining time as much as he can. And now Beast confirms, hey, you're not at 5 or even 1 o'clock, so you must be at 11 o'clock. And I think Beast is gonna be sacrificing the Overlord to scout to the main base. Never mind, he's gonna be pulling back his Overlord.
Well, he should know something's up because Command Center should be coming down, and it is not down just yet. Meanwhile, that is an add-on to the factory, so I think we're gonna have Vulture run by. There is that Command Center. I can't tell if the Overlord can actually see it or not. I think he can.
I think he can, and yeah, I think this is a moment where Beast is having some tough time. Try to wall off the natural. I mean, the creep did not spread to the right side, so he had to put down the sunken colony immediately right next to his hatchery. Something that has to be relied on luck, not his skill. And yeah, Beast is not going to be getting that metabolic boost on the Zergling. He was going to have enough money for a Spire here.
Well, we do have a Sim City being set up by Beast, and that is an armory coming down for Barracks. Ooh, I think he'll be able to get that out if once he builds the refinery at the bottom. Maybe. I'm hoping he can. You don't want to ever lose an SCV that easily. Now, meanwhile, 2 Vultures are out. Looks like a third is going to be coming out, and then I'm sure he'll be trying to go for that run by. Meanwhile, second factory is coming down, so it is going to be a mech play. Oh, the Overlord didn't see it. Are we serious? Okay, now he did. Maybe.
I'm a little worried about the armory placement. Like, I feel like the SCV might get stuck right side of the armory.
Yeah, but are we going to get there? Because Vulture's about to just run by. Goodbye, Lings. And we're going to get straight into the main. Oh, this is painful for Beast. That Overlord was slightly out of position. And this is what can happen if you're just off by just a tad. 3 drones are gone. 4 Lings are gone. Drones are going to be falling left and right. And that Spire's not even done yet.
Yeah,
oh,
3
no.
Vultures literally kill all the drones. I mean, 13 drone remaining, 12 drone remaining. When we look at the supply count, it's only 11. Okay, that's about like a 10 drone still remaining. He's making 4 Mutilas. Oh, he did cancel the hatchery, so he just earned those money to squeeze more of a Mutilas count. But, oh, this is absolutely...
It's over.
Yeah, this is over.
Oh my gosh, that is unfortunate for Beast because he had everything going well for him. He had 3 hatch. He scouted exactly what was going on. He had his Spire coming. Everything was fine. Simply the Overlord was like half a centimeter out of range of seeing those Vultures. And there were like 4 or 2 Lings out of the center of the map that easily could have been on hold position. And then that scenario would have never happened.
Or maybe he could have just built on like an evolution chamber. Like, you know how Zerg players kind of likes to put the evolution chamber for the wall. And if Terran ever goes for a 1-1-1 type of build with a super fast Science Fissile, Zerg always likes to get the armor 1 really, really fast. Like, having the evolution chamber would have helped him a lot for the SimCity, but I feel like Beast was a little too greedy there.
I think he just didn't see the Vultures, and that just happens sometimes. So we did get to see Lemon, but did we really? Because the game ended just so quickly. But now we're going to be going into Ascension, and I'm thinking back to all the games I've seen on Barracks, on Ascension. He's, proxied an 8 racks, even versus Protoss. So I think we can be looking forward to another aggressive game from him. Beast has to win here, otherwise his ASL hopes are done. So hopefully he can put a win on the board. But Barracks, he's so close to closing it out.
Uh-oh.
Every Zerg gets that. Every
Zerg
yeah. Every Zerg gets the 12 position, and that is where Beast is spawned. And meanwhile, it feels like Terran is just destined to spawn bottom right. Now, as I mentioned before, last time we saw Barracks on this map, we had a forward racks, even versus Protoss. Now, I'm looking at how the terrain is set up. I don't know if we'll actually see an 8 racks versus Zerg this time around. I feel like there's not a good position to put that Rex. Well, maybe not. I guess you can put it in the center, top middle.
When we are looking at the Barracks cam, he's just doing the F2, F3 button at the natural and the main base at the same time. None of the SC. Okay, finally one SC.
Oh, there we go.
I think
it's the
this is
depot.
a depot. Yeah, it has to be the depot.
Yeah, so for you guys watching, if you ever want to wall your natural, you need to send out your SCV at 48 minerals. That's the number to send it. If you want to wall your main, 56. So he sent it out on 48 minerals, and that's why we know that it's going to be a depot timing. So again, we're going to have a wall at the natural. Now we did just see mech play. How viable is mech on Ascension?
It really depends on how well you do the Vulture harassment, and we have seen Barracks has gone for the mech build on Ascension. Same location, yeah, exactly the same scenario where we are right now watching, and this time Barracks is just gonna be a greedy move, doing some greedy move here.
This is going to be 14 command center. I actually think this is kind of a risky move because in the interviews, Rush was even talking about how aggressive Barracks was. And TVT, is not the most aggressive matchup in the early game. So I think to go 14 command center versus a Zerg player who could potentially go for overpool, 12 pool, 9 pool, this feels a bit risky, especially since you're a known aggressive Terran, but he's going to get away with it, and this is a massive opener for Barracks.
Yeah, I wonder Barracks is going to be doing with the 14 command center into a mech opening, or maybe +1, or maybe just pure standard bio opening. I'm trying to keep my eyes on his vision. This is his first time going to be going out for the scout here at 2 minute 30 seconds mark, and he's going to be not spotting the Overlord. Oh, it's a mech.
It is going to be a delayed mech opener. Now, if you had asked me a year ago how strong this build is, I would say this is pretty much the best build you can actually go for. However, we did see in ASL, Queen ended up beating Flash every time he went for delayed mech. But I don't think Flash got away with a 14 command center. So we'll see how well Barracks can transition this. Now, you have multiple options here. You can go mech. You can go for actually Valkyrie play. What's your preferred follow-up to this?
Well, if I'm ever doing this type of strategy, I would personally like to go mech, because if I'm playing bio, I know this rush distance is really far. I mean, even with the Valkyrie, will deny all those middleless harassment. The M&M is just way too slow, and they're always weak. And they're not going to be beating all the sunken, the Zergling nicely. So I think mech might be the better choice in my opinion here, but the scouting SCV will be sneaking inside of Beast's main base.
Okay, well, we'll wait and see if it is mech. I'm looking at that factory position, and it looks like you could have put it in a little better spot to optimize the amount of factories you can place. So I kind of think that we may actually see Valkyries. We're getting to the moment where Barracks is going to make that decision, because second factory should be coming down if he's going to go into it. But it looks like the factory is going to complete, and there is no second factory.
Yeah, I'm trying to check how many Marines he has made, and Beast's Overlord, it's, I would say, somewhat out of place. He doesn't get much of a intel, whether this is bio play, or mech play, or even Valkyrie. Oh, another factory is going to be going up with the armory follow-up, so most likely it is going to be... Oh, metabolic boost is done for Beast. Normally when you're doing the inner 3 hatchery, you don't get the metabolic boost, but I guess Beast got the metabolic boost because he thinks Barracks is playing bio, but it really isn't. He's making a second Vulture as well. No machine shot whatsoever yet.
Yeah, just waiting to add on that machine shop when it will line up with his armory, and those Lings... Oh, are they going to live? No, they are not. So 2 Lings just bleed off. And as you mentioned, the metabolic boost, kind of a wasted upgrade right now. Now, meanwhile, second gas already done for Barracks. Okay, eBay halfway done. So everything looks pretty much perfect from the Terran, and pretty much just normal play from Zerg 2.
And the Sunken Colony just now about to be completed. The Vulture, missed micro there.
He does get...
At the same time, the Spartak is now done. And the second Vulture needs to buy some time. He needs to confirm whether Beast is sending out another drone for morphing a hatchery to the mid or left side.
Well, turrets are going up, and unlike the Eclipse game, these turrets can be placed quite nicely, so there should be no issues dealing with the Mutalisk. The problem, I guess, for Barracks is simply Zergs have become masters of dealing versus mechs, so I'm wondering how well this will actually pan out as we go into the mid and late game. Third factory coming in for Barracks. Now, is he ramping up to go into 5 factories, you think? Oh, actually, it's just 2 factories.
Well, just by looking at how much of a investment dash right now Barracks is earning. Might be a starport follow-up with the heavy upgrade.
Yeah, generally when you get that second gas, it is going to be the vessels going to that 2-1 timing, and I think that is a starport that we just saw being placed on the corner of his base. But that building does not look like a starport,
No,
so that might actually be a third factory. Here come those mutas. Goliaths are in position, but no range just yet.
The range upgrade is still not done yet, but the turret placement still looking amazing. He did lose a lot of SCV here and there, but we know he started with the 14 command center, so he does have a lot of SCV still. We see Beast is finally adding a Hydroden at the main base, and yeah, he's trying to queue up all those drone count right now at the moment.
Well, that was great muta harassment from Beast. I think maximum amount of SCV damage while taking almost no muta damage because all of the damage got spread out. And behind this, he's not building any more Mutalisks. It was simply to just keep the SCV count in check. And behind this, he's going into Hydras, he's going into that evolution chamber, and he's got his third base coming up in just a second.
Yeah, those 7 minutes is just pretty much gonna be buying some time. Whether Barracks is moving out or whatnot. Okay, still no Barracks lifted. So I guess Barracks is still not interested in moving out. More missile turret gonna be built, and I would like to see. Okay, yeah, there's a starport. So it looks like this is gonna be super fast 2-1 upgrade build.
Yep, so +1 I think kicks in at around like 8 minutes or so. So we're going to see that science facility pretty much line up perfectly with the upgrade timing. Now, actually, there are more Mutalisks being produced, and they do intercept this SCV and knock it down. Now, I haven't seen a single tank just yet, but we did see the third. Did we see the third factory? No. Oh, bit of a mismanagement of the drones there, not mining the gas.
Yeah, we did get to see there's a third factory above the starport. So 3-fact live production, and finally Beast was realizing, hey, this is an interesting move. Beast is actually making Zerglings all of a sudden instead of making Hydralisk.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised at that because he also saw the nat gas and he knows that it was rushed. So for some reason he's feeling like this is going to be a move out, but we of course know that that's not the case. Barracks is content with just sitting here. I did not see an additional command center just yet, but I did see vultures coming out, so he is looking to harass this mineral line. And he has no drones.
I think this is a bad decision making by Beast. I mean, Zerglings pretty much don't really do damage to the Goliath. Goliath is just way too strong with the +1 attack, and they're just going to be constantly picking up the Zergling from the long range distance. And that with that many of the Zerglings, he can't really do anything. That could have been everything could have been drone. Like, he could have made a dozen of a drone at the third expansion.
Oh, it's painful. Another vulture run by, and this time he only needs 2 because he has that +1 weapon where he'll be 2-shotting these drones. Luckily, the mutas get into position to save the day, but another vulture attack on the left side, and he ends up even spotting that additional lings were made. So he knows the position he's in, and tanks and Goliath start with 1 armor. So once +1 armor kicks in, actually these lings just almost do no damage. So I agree, I'm very worried about Beast's position here.
Yeah, look at those vultures are picking up those Zerglings and put some spider mines for the map awareness and map control here and there. What? Lurker?
Well, Lurker can be interesting because Terran does skip comsat for a long time. However, this was a vessel play, so he's always going to have vessels. So I'm not too sure about this, and the first few tanks are already out. So I don't know what he's actually anticipating expecting to do with this attack. I mean, meanwhile, Vultures run into the third base and see there's no defense.
Yeah, those drones are pretty much getting murdered by 2 Vultures, 3 Vultures here. And looks like some Zerglings is trying to clear some of the spider mines, but does it really matter? Oh, the command center SimCity is already done. Siege mode is done.
Oh! Kills so many Lings, and he knew something was up because there was no defense at that third base. And remember, he saw the Lings that were preemptively built. So this was a genius move to build the command center at the entrance to create that wall and make sure that no attack into his main could do any damage.
Yeah,
that's a lot of factories.
Yeah, that's a lot of factories. I mean, Ascension is a map that has 10 mineral fields at the main base, and Natural has 8 mineral fields. Of course, Terran and Protoss, they always make tons of SCV in early in the stage of the game, so he's pretty much powering up all of the eco boost and adding more of a factory by now. And now, what can actually Beast do in this kind of a scenario? He does have Armor 1 for the Lurker, or I'll say Hydralisk, but what can he actually do?
Well, I mean, he built a lot of Mutalisks, he built a lot of Lurkers now, and he cut drones to build Lings. And all he's done is set up a contain, which can easily get pushed back by Irradiate. That's going to do tons of damage because he can't split that Muta fast enough. And there's Siege mode. I feel like Beast actually has to go for this fight here.
Yeah, it's also +2. It's a +2 mech. It's a +2 mech, and okay, sniping on one science vessel, that is definitely nice, but with that amount of investment gas you just spent to deny that third expansion for this long, I'm not sure whether that is worth it. But ooh, interesting. He just made did he just make an extra Mutalisk?
He is, and he's got 1/1 upgrade, so he's trying to catch the Terran off guard, acting like he's going into Hydra Lurker, but he's actually going into Mass Goliath. But we do see Barracks still has 2 vessels left over. Oh my god, is that 30 Mutalisks? How many Irradiates are available? Looks like that vessel has 1, and I think the back vessel also has 1. But there's only maybe 12 Goliaths?
Oh, that is definitely a lot of Mutalisks. Gonna go for the crush, but Irradiate, the second vessel does have enough energy for the second Irradiate. The 2/1 upgrade is just way too strong. I think he doesn't really need that much of a Goliath to win against this 3 groups of Mutalisks.
Oh no! The Irradiate got repositioned into the group, into the Muta Ball, and the Mutas did, or the Goliaths did way more damage than they should have. They killed a lot of Mutalisks. Those Mutas are heavily damaged. I think even if these 3 turrets got up, they could potentially kill all of them. For now, Barracks, okay, there's the 4 Goliath follow-up, and look, multiple Mutas fall right there, and this Muta switch did not work at all. But behind this, that's a lot of drones.
Yeah, by the meantime, while Barracks is having that floated mineral, he's probably going to be switching into all those massive amounts of missile turret. Okay, we heard a couple of scans going off in the middle of the map to find out whether any kinds of ground unit coming to go for the attack move. But okay, here's one other command center Barracks is going to be building.
Barracks is content with just splitting the map, it seems like. He can easily take 4 bases. I mean, in fact, he can easily take 5 bases with almost not even having to move at all. And then if he just pushes to win, he can also take the middle of the map towards Zerg's base. So that's 6 bases that he can easily defend. Meanwhile, Zerg is, of course, expanding to the left side. He's up to 4 bases now, and we do finally see some macro hatches coming in for him.
I have a feeling Barracks is just pretty much going to be totaling up all the way up to 2 mech upgrade completes, and he's just pretty much taking the territory. He's slowly moving out, putting some spider mines, and buy some time with the speed vulture. And yeah, he's just going to be moving out because he wants to take another command center. He can take the command center to the center line or even towards to the 1 o'clock side.
Yeah, I think 3-2 is going to be the kill move that Barracks is looking for. Because so many Mutalisks were built, and because there was no 4th gas for a long time, he knows that there's no queen potential. So he's not worried about getting his tanks popped by broodlings. Those Mutalisks actually have +2 armor, so going really hard on the air. But, of course, we all know Irradiate doesn't care about armor, so I don't know how well this is actually going to work for him.
Yeah, look at that Hydralisk. The Hydralisk upgrade is completely behind. I mean, we see Barracks is finally moving out. He's about to get maxed out, like 180 supply versus 118. I mean, if those supply was included with a lot of queens, that would have been a big chance. Like give a chance to eat up this mech army, but I'm not sure. This is just way too many of a mech army, I would say. And Barracks is already putting down another command center at the center expansion.
Yeah, and remember, +2 kicked in at around the 12-minute mark, I think. So +3 actually should be done or close to done in just a second. Here comes that attack. It is a lot of Hydras, but unfortunately, that's a lot of tanks, and that's not even all of his tanks. Where are the Mutalisks? They're at the bottom of the map. They're not helping at all.
Yeah, they're just pretty much out of place. I think this is a Dunzo, I would say.
Yes, I agree. This looks like an unstoppable army.
Oh, yeah.
I think all Zerg can really do is try and counterattack, but where can he even counterattack? There's mines, there's the Goliaths. The tanks even intercept this counterattack. And look at how these Hydras die. Supplies 170 to 105. Unfortunately, today was not Beast Day, and he's just going to get overwhelmed by this unstoppable mech force.
Yeah, Beast is gonna be tapping out. He can't really stop this force. Barracks is playing really well with mech opening against Zerg. I guess he worked on his mech play against Zerg after he got eliminated by Soma. Well, he didn't get knocked out, but he did lose to Soma in round of 24, what I remember.
Yeah, the mech play was great, and he didn't play it overly aggressive. He actually played it quite passively, did exactly what he needed to do, hit those powerful upgrade spikes, and really the only aggressive moves he did was with the Vultures. Completely different from what Rush was talking about, where Barracks likes to be aggro all the time. So Barracks showing that, hey man, I can play aggro and I can just play a standard straight up game, and he's looking very strong going into his rematch versus Rush. Now, also what comes into play here is Barracks has gotten more games under his belt. He's definitely more warmed up, and Rush has been waiting a long time. So this matchup that we're about to see should actually be closer than the first game of the day.
It is interesting how well he was using the mech against Zerg. I wish he can actually pull out. He can play really well with mech against Rush again. We are going to be moving into commercial break. We'll be coming back soon after the commercial break. Stay tuned, guys.
We are back, and this is the last series of the day. This is going to decide who's our final player, making it into the round of 8. It's going to be a Terran player. Is it going to be Rush, or is it going to be a Barracks? We're going to find out. Rush looked extremely dangerous versus Barracks in the first game, but we just saw Barracks play quite well versus Beast. So maybe he can get some revenge versus Rush.
Yeah, that game number 1 on a polypoid Barracks versus Rush, it was kind of like a one-sided game, but remember Barracks was kind of had a unlucky scout, like he didn't realize the opponent was playing the Rex expand, and he was just playing, everything was going wrong, like he lost one SCV in the beginning of the game by scouting SCV by Rush's SCV, so yeah, that was a little unfortunate. I hope he's pretty much warmed up by playing a lot of games on a losers match. Hope he's back to play and show he's better than before.
Yeah, literally nothing went well for him. And, I mean, it happens sometimes. So now nerves should be out the window, and we do get to see the maps. It is going to be Ascension, Revolver, and Goodnight. A Lemon ban and a Largo ban. I'm not too surprised by that. I think these are the more standard maps, so it's nice to just get the really weird ones out of the way. Players are ready. This is our last series of the day, guys. Which Terran is going to make it out of this group and move on into the round of 8? Right, in the red, in the blue, in the bottom right, we have Mr. Rush. And then, of course, in the bottom left, because Terran can never spawn at top middle, it is Barracks. Now, you played on this map last season, and we saw you go for a lot of dropship play. Is that still something we can look forward to on this map?
Well, if I remember correctly, Ascension is a type of map where you kind of need to focus on the mid spot, like the mid spot is a high ground, and once you start having those high ground advantage with the Sea Tanks lineup, you're pretty much denying all the possibility where the vultures can be ran off from. So that's the key point of this playing on an Ascension TVT, and we do not get to see much of a dropship play because once you start getting contained, you really want to break the one of the sides. So I'm gonna be expected to see both of the players just trying to go for mass rates later on, maybe after getting 3 gas or 4 gas whatsoever. And so far nothing is going crazy. Depot, same time.
Well, we did see Rush go for gasless on Polypoid. I actually kind of want to see him do it again because I think he's thinking like, okay, I showed gasless. I don't think you're going to try and 8 racks me this time because it's unlikely that I'll go gasless again. So that's why I think he should go for it. So let's see if he will opt into it. For now, the racks, okay, it's not going to be that. Instead, that was an 11 gas, right? Maybe not.
That was 12-12 by Barracks. So they're 12-12 by Rush. So Rush was delaying his Barracks as much as he can, and yeah, he had a little bit of an eco boost in the beginning. And now Barracks is moving out with the 13 scout, and Rush is still not scouting yet.
Yep, no scout from Rush. And this is quite faster than last game or last time we saw these two players play, because remember, Barracks proxied that racks and then went for like a 15 scout. So he wants to make sure he knows exactly what this guy is up to this time around. And he is going to luckily find Rush in the first position and see that this is just a normal 12 gas opener.
Look at the resource, how much of a Rush right now has 2 minute 28 seconds factory timing, and he's also making a marine production. Everything is super fast to me what I see.
Well, Barracks' factory is also fast, and that SCV is trying to repeat game 1 and snipe a kill on that SCV. Actually, it's Barracks the one trying to snipe a kill, and he's getting it pretty low. Oh! He gets it! But he does lose his own SCV, but that 228 factory that Rush had, well, now Barracks is going to catch up.
Yeah, Barracks will be catching up, and he did lose the scouting SCV, but doesn't really affect him too much, but because a type of map on Ascension is you don't really get to see 2-fact vulture. I mean, we have seen Barracks versus Mong, like Mong was going for 2-fact vulture before taking an expansion. You don't do that on Ascension. We see Barracks is queuing up more of a SCV. He's not cutting his SCV production. 21. He did lose scouting SCV, so that's kind of like a 22 command center. He could have gotten the command center a little bit faster, but so far nothing is going crazy.
Yep, the only difference I see here is I think Rush has 1 Marine, so he really skimped out on the defense, get up that command center as fast as possible. Ooh. Meanwhile, Vulture coming out, second Vulture coming out, I think also for Rush. So he is making sure that any Vulture attack will be shut down. Now, Barracks, he goes straight into the add-on off of simply just 1 Vulture.
Yeah, that scouting SCV, and that scouting SCV is about to get inside of a Barracks main base. Barracks spent that 100 Vespin gas somewhere.
It's Starport.
Yeah, that is definitely a Starport. And now the SCV is sneaking in, and if he does not get to see the second factory at the main base, okay, he might not. Okay, he will not see the Starport, so that's a good sign. But he might feel something is weird because he's getting that second factory like halfway done, and you don't have your second factory. Oh, you must be doing something else. So he's immediately putting down the armory. I like this decision making with the 2 factory into an armory build.
Yeah, so this is going to be a solid opener versus what Barracks is doing, and no damage should be able to be done on Rush's side of the map. Ooh, Barracks got off the first shot with these vultures, and he might actually just easily run them over. He's going to kill 2 for 1. Nicely done there.
Yeah, now the Rush's Barracks will become for me. There's only a single factory still in the starport at the above. So now the single starport, single wraith is not gonna be flying towards the Rush's main base. So I guess he's just gonna be focusing on taking down the barracks and delay all those factory count, and maybe delay also academy as well. Maybe even kind of pressure Rush to put down the academy faster than regular timing. And now finally a couple of vultures. Okay, there are 3 vultures are moving out. Barracks has only a single siege tank and a single vulture, but now this map control by Rush with the spider mine research. This is looking great to me.
Yeah, this is a fantastic position for Rush. I mean, the build that Barracks is doing is the build that I do all the time, but there's a lot of variations to this. You can build multiple wraiths, you can build 1 wraith, you can get cloak. How many wraiths do you actually think we're going to see? We see 2 for now.
Well, with his
no. Okay.
So with that his floating barracks for Barracks, he knows the Goliath is already out. I think it's not necessary to get the cloak upgrade in my opinion, because the Goliath is already out. You're not gonna be doing any damage. You're not picking up any of it SCV, so it's kind of like 100% meaningless to him. So I mean, just having that 2 wraith will be pretty much helping him a lot to like push those vulture away and not. I dare you, do not put Spider-Man at front of my high ground. And now, okay, yeah, he will just push those vulture out, just like how Mutas are always doing it against Terran. And he's adding up all the way up to 3 factory.
We do see that the race did push back the vultures. Now, did he build an... Okay, there's the answer. He did get an academy. He does have Comsat, and he has pumped out pretty much tanks nonstop. So he's going to get out onto the map pretty soon to try and... Well, he needs to get out onto the map pretty soon. Otherwise, Rush may get into a contained position, and he may find an SCV kill here. But one of the downsides of this build that Barracks is doing is a Wraith is pretty much a factory. Like, that's how expensive it is. So he does need to be careful to not get contained, because he's going to have a low unit count in the early stages of the game. First scan goes off, but remember, he doesn't have a lot more energy. He only has 1 more scan, and Rush is going to rush to get into position on this high ground. Oh, they don't connect somehow.
Yeah, they didn't connect, but the single Wraith just got picked up by the Goliath. Only 1 Wraith still remaining, 20 HP. And I'm not sure whether the siege mode is done or what. Okay, I hear the siege mode, so that's a good sign. Barracks needs to take this high ground in order to take his 3rd command center. And when we think about the spawning location, it is somewhat better for Barracks to use the dropship towards the Rush's main base. So he can, in this kind of like a game scenario, he can give up the center. He can give up the center, but he will take all those bottom right side of the expansion and start using the dropship. That would be one of the key points where Rush is gonna be having some difficulty defending his main base and also hold off the center line.
Well, I'm kind of surprised at what's happening because Barracks has so much more stuff than Rush right now. I mean, supplies are ahead for Rush, but that's 6 tanks versus 3, and he doesn't have vision. And Rush recognizes that instantly, unsieges and turns around. That was a key move there. He could have easily lost all 3 of his tanks and killed none. So now it's going to be Barracks on the prowl, trying to set up. Ooh, another mine does not connect, but that's a dead tank.
And so now this is the scenario where I was talking about, where Rush is going to be holding up the center line. And Barracks is trying to get some territory and have some space, so he will be having some access to mine that the center expansion later on. But that's a good sign. But I don't think Rush has the starport yet, does he?
I don't think he does either. And as you mentioned, the spawning positions kind of favor Barracks here, where he can secure his base. Oh, double starport. Well, that's going to be a sneaky move. We'll have to see if the observer can catch a scan onto the natural and whether Barracks can sniff this out. I hate the race switch. It's like, man, if I had ever built like 3 Goliaths, I'd just shut this down easily. But it always catches me off guard, so we'll see how well Barracks can figure this out.
Yeah, both of the players are trying to get some spider mines on the right side here, and now I think Barracks somewhat messed up with the vulture movement because of the terrain, and gotta be careful, there are also spider mines will trigger. Oh.
Well, one spider mine keeps connecting, but it's just not enough to kill an actual tank. Now, even though Barracks has the double or has the add-on to his starport, it's not blinking, so dropships are actually not coming out into play just yet. We did see that he has an armory, so he does have the ability to build Goliaths. However, I have not seen a single Goliath just yet, and Scan misses everything. Well, I mean, he sees the 4 factories, but he misses the starports is what I mean.
It looks like Rush is trying to do the seasonal range calculation. He did pick up one siege tank, nicely done.
Yeah, and this is always the mark of a good Terran player, whether you can pick off tanks and slowly break contains like this. For now, Barracks has positioned his takes in a way where Rush is not content with moving again. But again, there's still no Goliaths out. This is going to get dangerous.
And some vultures will be, and 2 siege tanks will be moved to the top left, I would say. And I think for some reason, Rush is constantly leading the supply count for some reason.
Well, I think it's mostly in vultures. Like, he's got just more vultures than Barracks right now. Now, the one thing I have to point out is that the scan that went off from Barracks in Rush's main did only see 4 factories, and I think Barracks had more factories, so it's a bit confusing why Rush would have less despite his opener. Now, these tanks do get picked off, but high ground is going to save the day, and he is going to re-secure the bottom base. Oh, maybe not.
Rush is trying to take this territory and deny that fourth expansion as much as he can. But there's 2 siege tanks on the high ground, gotta be careful. Oh, where's Barracks going? He's gonna be missing all the 6 siege tanks.
Yeah, and all he has to do, I think actually if Rush shows the Wraith now and forces a fight at the 4th base, that could just be a win condition, because there's not a lot of defense there. He picks off those 2 tanks and then moves all of his tanks onto the high ground and the 3rd base. Then it's 2 base versus 4.
Yeah, 2 base versus 4. It's just not looking great. I mean, there are so many of the vultures are getting picked off by the 3 siege tank here, but okay, 3 siege tank are isolated. 1 spider mine did not connect.
What? I don't think either of them connected.
Yeah, none of them are connected, and now this is a 8 base incoming. Surprise! And
yeah.
Barracks is just gonna be surprised, and he doesn't have any Goliath. None of the Goliaths are here. No single Goliath whatsoever. He does have +1, but his rates are pretty much murdering all those siege tanks.
Yeah, and you saw him shake his head. He literally has no anti-air. And that, he has 1 Goliath. I guess Rush is not sure. Oh my god, that is so much stuff. And this was exactly what Rush needed to just barrel through. Look at how many tanks he has in comparison now. And he has a lot of money too. He has 1k minerals, about 300 gas, and he has 4 bases. Oh, he kills so many tanks, man.
Yeah, this is the key part of TVT on Ascension, where you gotta have to either break the center or hold. One of the players will be holding the center, and one of the players has to break the center. And yeah, unfortunately, giving up the air battle, that's just so crucial for Barracks, and he's just losing all those territories. Rush is constantly moving forward.
That was a great siege there from Barracks to actually focus down the one siege tank. Meanwhile, he's losing SCVs in his main. He does have he does have 4 command centers, so he could rebuild them, but Rush is about to be maxed out in just a second. Double armory for Barracks, but we don't even know if that's going to complete. There's a dropship that's going to probably get taken down. And Barracks, he's just falling apart.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem looking great. I mean, Rush is taking a lot of expansion, just like how we have seen in the game number 1 on Polypoid. Like, he's taking all the expansions.
Yeah, and the race just force units out of position all the time, and this is the move that I was expecting him to do. He's going to bust down these tanks, and that's going to allow him access onto the 4th base. All he has to do is move 1 tank over there, and it's pretty much impenetrable. Barracks can't even get down this ramp, I don't think. Now, he might actually, because all of these wraiths are not supporting the tanks at the top side, but the vultures are killing all of the SCVs at the bottom.
Yeah, the supply gap is just gonna be huge and huge. 180 versus 107. I think Rush has Barracks has lost a lot of SCV at the main base and the 4th expansion at the same time. Okay, now the close race is here. Spider Mine connects to the Goliath.
And, well, instant unsiege, and Barracks is unsieged himself, and watching this just makes TVT so fun to me, because this is so hard to do. Reposition constantly like this, and Rush is just putting on a clinic. There's the GG. Barracks taps out. Barracks was playing well. Like, literally, if he just had 3 Goliaths, I think he could have held that position.
Yeah, I wonder what went wrong. Maybe he didn't track that of the counter double starport rate. Maybe that can be one of the mistakes. I mean, he was in an okay position. He was behind with the supply count a little, but it's just something has gone wrong for him. Like, he's missing all this intel and not doing the right thing against Rush.
Yeah, and as you pointed out in the mid game, like, it was 145 supply to 125. So I don't know how Rush increased this supply gap that much, but he did. I said that I thought it was vultures, but could have been wrong. It looked like Rush was on top of his SCV production too. But regardless, Rush does take game win. It's now match point for him, and we are going to have Revolver, our first TVT Revolver I think we've seen all season, and our first Revolver game today. Well, this is it, guys. Barracks on his last leg. He has to win here, otherwise he is done. Can he do it, or will Rush move on? Right top. I always get debated. In the bottom right, we have our red Terran player. It is Rush. And in the top right, we have, of course, Mr. Barracks. Now, I actually would like to see Rush 8 racks this time around, because Barracks was aggressive the first time. Both players played similar builds. Now I think it's time to just bring it to Barracks and say, hey, I can beat you regardless of Doper. Whether I'm passive, whether I'm aggressive, whether I'm greedy, it just doesn't matter. So that's what I hope we see from Rush here.
It's a Revolver TVT, and this is a vertical matchup. I would say, I think both of the players is probably going to be focusing on maybe getting maybe one siege tank and a vulture, and try to go for the vulture war there, because having a one siege tank does help the player to win the vulture war a lot in the middle. And you can see the second gas is somewhat vulnerable, and if you get the seasonal upgrade from the underground, or I should say the low ground, you can actually hit that second gas, or even also hit the command center from the low ground. So I think both of the players pretty much gonna be focusing on. Oh, we see the Barracks is sending out an SCV.
Well, it is a forward Barracks, but it's not super far forward, and it is Revolver where he has high ground, so not a very risky positioning there. Now, meanwhile, Rush, he does just build it in his main base, and there's 12 gas, and there is 12 gas follow-up from Barracks himself. Now, you were talking about the tank vulture play. Every time I do that, man, either I get backstabbed by vultures, or I move across the center of the map and mines kill or trigger on my tank and I lose everything. How do you control it so that you don't just lose everything with because of your tank triggering the mines?
Well, it kind of have to be rely on a lock with not stepping on the spider mines, but if your opponent is rotating the vultures, you also have massive amount of vultures as well. So you should be able to catch when the opponent is rotating the vultures. But before that, we see, for some reason, Rush always have a lot of resource than Barracks. Everything is faster.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much faster. It's like 2 seconds faster, but yeah, just everything is a much slicker for Rush. Now, remember last game, there was 1 Marine Priest, and I'm sure Barracks is aware of that. So he's moving across with 1 Marine right now saying, hey, you better not have Gases Expander, you better not have 14 Command Center, because I'm going to put some pressure on. And, ooh, Barracks might see the floated racks. He does, and he's going to back off. But if you're in this scenario and you see this guy only has 1 Marine, does this trigger you to build something like 3 Marines, like 3 Vultures or anything?
Well, I think it's nice to have matching up with the Marine count, and that's a nice SCV drill on the single Marine. And another nice SCV drill, so Rush is on point, like defending this 2 Marine pressure really well. Oh, 3 Marine is coming.
Yeah, 3 Marines, and I love how he actually sent the Barracks back and rebuilt a 2nd Marine. Oh, and remember, these Marines are low. Look at the stutter step micro. He does trade 2 for 2, but with the Vulture popping out, this Marine should also fall. Can Barracks kill the SCV? It looks like the answer is going to be yes. Maybe? Oh, how did that get away? How did that get away?
Yeah, that's a sneaky SCV, I'll say. I mean, things are not working well for Barracks, I would say, but he did buy some time delaying that command center as much as he can. And we see now Barracks is adding a 2nd factory here.
Yep, it is going to be the 2nd factory opener. Does not necessarily mean that we're going to see mass Vultures, but it could be the case. There's the add-on, so we may see that single tank that you were talking about. There's no armory just yet, so no Goliath. Or I don't think there's an armory. So I guess it is actually going to be mass Vultures.
3-fact Vulture for Rush, and I think Barracks has made another Vulture, so he has 3 Vulture. It's in right now coming. This is gonna be 2 versus 2, but looks like Rush is upgrading something. I wonder whether that is gonna be the Speed Vulture or the Spider-Man research.
Well, he sacks his SCV to get the first shot onto the Vulture. I think that's a worthwhile trade since he has his tank coming out. And that is 4 Vultures before add-on. And in my experience, when there's this many Vultures, you really can just walk across the map with the tank. We'll see if that's what Rush wants to go for. He does have 3 factories himself. This Barracks land is cute, but I think this is just unnecessary damage, really.
It is interesting how Barracks immediately added double machine shop, and he also added an armory. I wonder what this follow-up is.
I guess he's unaware of what's exactly going on, so he went double add-on to catch up in tanks, but also built an armory in case there was a Wraith follow-up. He even got his 2nd gas quite quickly. Like, if we look in comparison, Rush hasn't even taken his gas yet. Oh, this is annoying. The Vultures attack the Barracks, and Rush moves in. It's 5 versus 4. One of the Vultures are already gone. Barracks is pulling his SCVs. It's 2 versus 4. It's actually 7 versus 2. Goliaths come out in the nick of time, but SCVs are dying left and right, just like on the game on Polypoint.
Yeah, this Vulture, Speed Vulture is looking absolutely I mean, just earn all those benefits with the attack. He's leading with the vulture count. He's not done. He can actually kill that Goliath with that massive amount of vultures. And Goliath on high ground did have some miss shot, but will eventually go down. Those vultures are pretty much assassinating all those SCV. I mean, the supply difference is just not looking great to me.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Barracks, like, he doesn't have Comsat just yet, so it's not like he could instantly move out and scan and try and, you know, get in position potentially with a couple tanks. I mean, I don't think he should do that because vulture backstab would be deadly, but he doesn't even have that option. Now, I think mines are about to finish, and Rush is just in the driver's seat. He's already got almost a 20 supply lead. He's got tanks himself coming out. Everything looking fantastic for him.
Yeah, look at that map control. He's already finished that Spider-Man resurgence. Floating Barracks is also watching. Barracks is the second gas as well. So once those seasonal completes, Barracks is going to be having some difficult time defending his refinery.
Oh, both players.
So cute.
Yeah, both players clearing out those eggs. And now it is more than a 20 supply lead. Rush did put on his second add-on, so he's going to have mass tanks coming out. For now, he doesn't have Comsat himself. I guess he's worried about a drop or something. He even has mines being set up in his main. And meanwhile, Starport is coming in for Barracks. Oh man, mines trigger and actually kill a Goliath. Oh, he's going to lose another one. Oh.
Yeah, Goliaths are pretty damn expensive, and if you're moving out, if you're slightly moving out, this vultures might gonna go for the backstab here.
Yeah, this is why I was saying he shouldn't move out, because well, you're about to see why, and that's why right there. Goodbye SCV. And now, I mean, these vultures have already used all their mines. He doesn't need them anymore. Just kill the SCV line.
Yeah, he's killing all of those SCV. Supply gap is already 20 differences. And yeah, Rush is right now feeling comfortable. He's getting his Siege mode upgrade. Those spider mines are pretty much getting the intel. The Siege tank is about to move out, but ooh.
Thank you. He scans and it still triggers. Now Rush, okay, he does have siege mode, and that's all he needs. Another vulture into the natural. It's just brutal. He kills an SCV. He kills another SCV. I think there's another SCV even low right there. He kills that. That's 3. Can he get a 4th? No. Now, Barracks does have the Barracks floating, so he does have vision, and he does move in there and snipe a tank. Can he snipe another one?
I think he should be able, because the floating Barracks is watching, giving him some vision there. But Rush immediately scans to figure out whether he's coming or whatnot, backing up a little. Drawing a siege tank line. Still no +1 attack on the way for Rush. But Rush has all the way up to
look at this. Look at this cute move. Just barely out of range. And he's sitting on the high ground getting vision. I don't think I've ever seen anybody use that. That is a genius move from Rush. Now the Wraith here making sure that even if the Barracks dies, he's still going to have some vision. Oh, that's painful. 5 health on that tank, and the SCV does repair it. Does it repair it?
Those Wraith was taking a risk to snipe a siege tank, but it didn't really work. I think both of the pairs pretty much going to be focusing on this mid position, drawing the siege tank line, and rotating a couple of vultures to the left side for Rush. And Rush still did not start the CC yet.
Ooh, that was a good move. He does find some tanks slightly out of position. He's gotten 3 for 1 right now, gets 4 for 2. That's exactly the type of move Barracks needs to get back into this game. And because of how his tanks are positioned, he gets another one, and he has opened up the mid-right base as a potential 3rd base target. Now, meanwhile, vultures come into the natural again, and more SCVs are going to fall.
Yeah, SCVs are constantly falling down, and Barracks can't really put down. Okay, he did snipe a lot of siege tanks, so that's a good sign. But floating Barracks is still showing some vision. Both of the players are trying. Okay, Rush is gonna be trying to defend this here, but Barracks is losing so much of a SCV.
Well, Barracks, honestly, he's doing it right now. This tank push is amazing. This is why you have to have air control in TVT. Otherwise, scenarios like this can easily happen. And Barracks is now actually within range of the ramp. Oh, he's in range of the refinery.
Yeah, somehow it's started to hit the refinery here. Rush still leading the game with 102 supply. He does have that command center started. But I'm not sure what those buildings are at Rush's main base, whether he's building the counter wraith once again. Observer needs to show, but hasn't shown it yet. But there's finally the third command center is about to be complete. Third refinery is also going up. And no +1 yet for Rush.
Yeah, even though this siege is painful, the fact that he has a third base coming means he's still gonna just equalize the gas. Okay, now he is moving in position here to try and bust this contain. Vultures soak up all the shots. The focus fire from Barracks was not the greatest, and he takes down 3 tanks. And, oh, he takes down 4 tanks. I don't even know if Barracks killed a single tank on that attack. It looks like he didn't.
Yeah, none of the siege tank died. Still no +1 for Rush. I mean, Rush is not interested of getting the +1 upgrade. He's just going to be focusing on making a bunch of siege tank as much as you can. And I'm not sure what those 2 buildings, that looks like a square box looking, so I think that might be the double starper once again by Rush at the main base, but the observer hasn't shown it yet. Finally, some harassment is done by Barracks, but this is still not enough.
Yeah, just not enough harassment there. We can see that Barracks did opt to take that third base at the mid-right position. And Rush is starting to move out onto the map also, but Barracks looks like he is actually going to secure that. That's great for him, but again, another Vulture run by. Not going to be successful.
Oh, those siege tanks are moving to the center line, and I think he's trying to make a better siege tank line to secure or maybe even contain Barracks' reinforcement. And he can pretty much isolate that 3 o'clock expansion later on. Yeah, he looks like he's trying to contain him.
Yep, that's exactly what he's going for. And now we see some dropship play. But remember, there were mines placed at the early stages of the game that he may just land on. Tank is going to die. Oh, it was a race switch. And there is that mine. He just instantly taps out. And unfortunately, not Barracks' day. And Rush, he's going to be our last player moving into the round of 8.
Interestingly, Rush did not get +1 upgrade. Normally, you kind of want to get the +1 upgrade as soon as you put down the third command center, but he wasn't even planning to get that +1 upgrade, and he just pretty much focused on his 5 factory macro into a double starport. Yeah, so that square box kind of looks like a starport to me. So at the observer at the last moment he showed it to us. It was double starport making the wraith once again, just like Ascension. And yeah, Rush is gonna be advancing into round of 8. And we're gonna
I feel a bit bad for Barracks because Polypoid was just a disaster, and then it felt like a repeat disaster on Revolver. His tank push was great. That was the highlight of the day for him. Like really, really well done, pushing Rush back. I actually thought he was gonna get in range of busting the map. But we're gonna get into our interview with our winner.
We're finally all done with the ASL Season 12 round of 16 Group D. The second player who will be advancing into the round of 8. He will be Rush. Congratulations, congratulations. You were probably trying to make that scenario happen, what you said on the interview and the group nomination, but it didn't work well to me. Worked well to you, and now you made it into the quarterfinal. How do you feel?
좀 이겼는데도 그렇게 좋진 않아요.
He says
아무래도 승자전에서 김민철 선수와의 저그전이 못 내준 마음에
he's
걸리실
glad
것
that he made it out
같아요.
of this group,
어떤 점이 좀 가장
but he's
아쉽게
not
남으시나요?
satisfied. He's feeling a little disappointed. He prepared for something.
좀 쫄고 못한 것 같아요. 그래서 이 부분이
He
지금
prepared.
화가 나고.
He prepared for something
다음에
for
만나면
the
어떻게
matchup,
이길까
today's matchup, but
지금
the
유영진
opponent
선수가
somewhat
가지고 있는 이런
scared
아쉬움과
or
분노가
playing
또
passive
최근
against him,
경기에서
and
또
the game ended
어떻게
too fast.
뿜어 나올지도
But he
굉장히
couldn't show what he
기대되는데
wanted to show to the
반면에
audience.
태태전만큼은 유영진 선수가 시종일관 굉장히 날카로운 모습을 보여줬습니다. 특히 황병영 선수와의 첫 번째 경기도 그랬고 마지막 최종전 경기 1세트도 그렇고 이
Even in the game number 1 and
잘
also
노렸다라는
the
느낌을
decider
받았거든요.
match,
네.
준비하면서
we
좀 어떠셨나요?
kind of feel like
준비 과정에
your
있어서도
TVT
거의 다 이겼고
seems really great to us.
평소에도 좀 다 이기고 요새 거의 태태전을 안 지다시피 하고 있긴
So,
해가지고
So
자신이
what are your
있었는데
thoughts
지금
about your
생각보다 더 잘
TVT?
풀린
And
것
he
같아요.
says
첫 번째 세트
Things are just working out so well for him, even online and offline. Like he has been winning so much on TBT.
하셨어요.
네.
이 부분도 연습에서 좀 통했던 부분인가요?
Please talk about
그 부분은 좀 즉흥적으로 한 건데 센터를 좀 잘 잡아놔가지고
making a race decision making.
좀 몰래
So he-
타격만 하면 이길 수 있을 것 같다 생각해가지고
Rush Rush wasn't planning to use the raid, but he kind of felt like he should go for raids and just try to do the kill move. And he kind of felt like the opponent wasn't ready for it.
선수와 이재호 선수 그리고 박상현 선수를 만날 가능성이
So it was very
있는데요.
good.
이 라인업을 쭉 들으니까 어떠신가요?
How do you feel that
솔직히
you
제가
might
자랑할 수
have
있는
you might gonna be
확률은
playing
더 이게
against
높긴 해요. 근데
another 10 player who are seated in a
뽑아줄 때 저그를 좀
who are
뽑아주셨으면
moving to round of 8 as the first player out of the group.
네, 저그들
So there are light.
확률이 좀
Royal.
낮은데 한번 제가 힘을
Two
써보도록
players are
하겠습니다.
made it
자, 과연
into
유영진
quarterfinal as
선수가
the
또
first player
8강에서
in
어떤
round of
모습을
16.
보여줄지 기대하고 계시는 팬들에게 또 가족들에게도 한 말씀 해주시죠.
Any last word?
오늘
to your fans and
기대해
your family?
제 팬분들이 많았을 텐데
I'm pretty sure a lot of
너무
fans out
험하게
there.
죄송하고 좀 가다듬어가지고 확실하게 더 잘해줄 수
People
있도록
probably were
노력하겠습니다.
excited to watch
감사합니다.
me playing great games
네,
against
다시 한번 진출
Soulkey,
축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
but he wasn't doing well, so
자, 이렇게 해서 이번
he
시즌의
says,
마지막
he
8강
apologized
진출자
about
유영진
not showing
선수와
great games against
함께했습니다.
Soulkey,
경기 결과
but
만나보시죠.
he's still glad to be making it into round of 8. And thank you for the interview.
Now we're getting Rush's picture. We're getting a rundown of what happened today. Rush took down Barracks. Soulkey took down Beast. We saw Soulkey crush through Rush. Barracks easily took down Beast. And then again, Rush repeat taking down Barracks there. Rush looked really strong today. So did Soulkey. And unfortunately for both of the players that were eliminated, just not their day today. And this is going to be our round of 8, guys. It's how many Zergs? 4 Zergs, 3 Terrans, and only 1 Protoss. And it's just Mini that's going to represent them.
Yeah, most likely we are gonna be moving into the round of 8 group draw soon by the female caster. She probably is getting ready with those the lottery box thingy and all those tables set up. So give them time to set that settings, and yeah, just by looking at this the player list, it's once again we are only seeing 1 Protoss made it into a round of 8. It's only Mini.
Yeah, just Mini going to represent them. I want to see him play versus a Zerg player, actually. I want to see him go up against Queen again. It would be a rematch from last season. But actually, the matchup that I hope gets drawn is Soma versus Rush. And the reason I say that is I think Cruiser told me last year, like Soma and Rush have like some type of rivalry going on, and it was like a 53% win rate for Rush on Spawnbong, I think, if I remember correctly. And they had like 600 games played, just an insane amount of games. So that's my dream matchup for the round of 8. Is there any matchup here that you're looking forward to see? Like if you could pick first place versus second place player?
Well, I would like to see Light versus Mini. I know Light is just literally destroying Mini all the time whenever they play each other, and Mini barely has he has like 20% win rate against Light, and I would like to see Mini can actually overcome and beating Light in round of 8 and play, showing that he is better than Light and shows how strong the ASL Championship title is. Well, looks like the group draw is ready. The female caster is here.
정말 치열했던 ASL 시즌 12 16강이 모두 끝나고 8강의 라인업이 모두 정해졌습니다. 이제부터 여러분은 8강
like I said,
토너먼트를
before,
즐기실 수 있게 되는데요.
People who made it into round of 8 as a first player, they do not get to play
본격적인
each
진행에
other.
앞서서 룰을 간단하게 설명해 드릴
So it's always
텐데요.
going to be first player versus
16강에서 총 1위로 진출한
second
선수들의
player.
이름이 들어 있습니다. 자, 먼저 이 1위로 진출한 선수들을 뽑아서 A, B, C, D조에 위치시키고요. 그 이후에 16강에서 2위로 진출한 선수들 이 빨간 공에
if the
들어
draw
있는
ever
선수들을
happens like
추첨해서 대진을 완성시키도록
like a
하겠습니다.
group draw ever
이번
happens like
16강에서 같은 조에
2 players have
속한
played in
선수들은
round of
8강에서
16,
다시 만나지
they are not
않습니다.
gonna be
예를 들어
meeting
제가
up each
추첨을
other.
통해서
We
박상현
have to
선수와
cancel
변현재
that
선수를 같은 대진에
group
추첨했을
draw
경우에는
because
변현재 선수의 이름을
they already
제외하고
played in round of
2위
16.
선수를 다시 한번
We
재추첨하도록
have to do
하겠습니다.
the draw once again if that ever
자,
happens.
이제부터 8강 대진 추첨을 시작하도록 하겠습니다.
She will be
먼저
starting
16강 조 1위로
the
진출한
group
선수들을
8
차례로
round of 8 group draw show soon.
자, 8강 A조에 위치할 선수는요. 바로 저그
So
김민철
Soulkey,
선수입니다. 자,
it
이번
is
시즌
gonna be
가장
in
무서운
round of 8,
기세와
Group A.
기량을 보여주고 있는 선수죠. 김민철 선수입니다.
First player.
자, 계속해서 8강 B조에 위치할 16강 조 1위 진출 선수입니다.
And round of 8, Group
8강
B.
B조에 위치할 선수는요.
That looks like Royal to me.
테란 김지성
So that will be
선수.
Terran. Royal will
16강
be in
B조에서 경기를
Group
펼쳐
B.
조 1위로 8강에 진출한 김지성 선수가 뽑혔습니다. 자, C조에 위치할 선수를 추첨하겠습니다.
And drawing another one, Group C, the first player. It is gonna
서로
be, looks like
저그
a
박상현
purple color,
선수죠.
Soma.
시즌 10 준우승 이후 다시 한번 우승에 도전하는 박상현 선수가 C조에 위치하게 되겠습니다. 자, 자동으로 D조에 위치할 선수는요. 바로
And the Group D,
테란
obviously, it is gonna be
이재호
Light.
선수가 되겠습니다. 자, 이제부터는 16강에서 조 2위로 진출한
And now we are gonna be
선수들의
drawing
추첨을 통해서 대진을
The players who
완성시키도록
made it out of round of 16 as a second player. Let's see who she's gonna be picking.
자, 김민철 선수와
She's opening the
만나게 될
box.
선수는요.
Oh, it looks like a purple collar. Oh, it's a
분명히
Queen versus
선수입니다.
Soulkey. Remember
자,
during the
서로
interview
만나고
yesterday,
싶었던
Queen
두
said
명의 적은
he
선수가
wanted to play
바로
ZVZ against
8강
Soulkey because
A조에서
Soulkey is better at
경기를
ZVZ.
펼치게 됐습니다. 자,
And
계속해서
the dream became
비교를
true for
추첨하도록
Queen.
하겠습니다.
It is gonna be ZVZ for Group A.
테란
And
김지성
now
선수와
Group
만나게
B,
될
the second
선수는요.
player who will be getting selected. Let's see. That is a blue collar. That is Mini.
변현재 선수입니다.
So Royal versus
자,
Mini.
김지성
I remember.
선수와 프로토스 변현재 선수가 8강
I
B조에서
remember
경기를
Mini
펼치게
eliminated Royal in round of
자,
16
이어서
last
저그
season
박상현
on
선수와
Poly
경기를
Point
펼칠
with those
8강
evil pro
C조.
harassment. So I hope Royal is grinding his teeth to do some revenge match. And another draw for Group C, the second player, that is gonna be Rush.
유영진 선수
Soma
Oh.
versus Rush.
방금 전
So like you
유영진
said,
선수 인터뷰를 통해서
Spawnbang
박상현
list,
선수와
they have
만나고
played each
싶다고
other
했는데
about like 600
제가
games, as you
그
say.
바람을
It is gonna be an
이뤄드렸습니다.
interesting
박상현
matchup
선수와 유영진 선수의
between those two
저그
players.
테란전이
And lastly,
펼쳐지겠습니다.
it is gonna be
자,
Light
자동으로
versus
이재호 선수의 상대는
Hero.
저그
Yeah,
조일장
Light versus
선수가
Hero.
되겠습니다.
And if I remember correctly, Light said he played 50 games
자,
on
이렇게
online
8강의
matches
모든 라인업이
history
완성됐습니다.
against the
네 경기
Zerg,
모두
and
빼놓을
that
수
person
없는
is
굉장한
actually
라인업이
Hero.
구성되는
So last month,
8강의 대진
Light was
다시
playing
한번
as Hero like
펼쳐보죠.
50-60 game each other, and the game result has to be became 50-50% win rate each other. So that is an interesting round of 8 bracket. What I'm seeing.
Yeah, very exciting. I can't believe Queen getting Soulkey. Royal versus Mini should be very exciting too. If Royal can get revenge there, he'd be feeling fantastic. Also be his first time into the round of 4. And then there's the matchup I wanted, Soma versus Rush. And then we've got Light versus Hero, who apparently has also played just a ton of games. So this, I don't even know if it could get any better than this. Of course, we don't have your Light versus Mini matchup, but you know what that does set up potentially? If Light goes the distance, we could have a Light versus Mini final.
Yeah, it looks like I mean, I'm glad to see at least one Zerg player has to be getting eliminated for this round of 8. I mean, I don't want to see like 4 Zerg in round of 4, to be honest.
Yeah, they are the highest representative this time around, and we see that on Sunday. Our first matchup is gonna be Soulkey versus Queen, and I'm sure he's thinking about those comments, man. First, Queen saying his ZVZ's no good, then B saying his ZVZ's no good. I would be, man, I would really want to kill Queen badly on Sunday. Then, of course, Royal versus Mini. We're gonna go back to our normal schedule. Apparently, it's gonna be on Tuesday, and I'm assuming we're gonna have Sunday Group C, and then Tuesday again, and that will round out our top 4. Royal versus Mini. I don't remember that matchup last season.
Royal versus
You-
Mini. Maybe that
Yeah.
was round of 24. I don't really remember, but yeah, they played each other on Poly Point. The Mini was at 5 o'clock and Royal was 7 o'clock, and I don't know, it's just evil probe and those Zalor harassment is just pretty much ruining Royal's rhythm, and Yeah, Royal just lost that game.
Yep, and there is the second Sunday from now, Soma versus Rush, and then again 2 Tuesdays from now, we're going to have our final round of 8 matchup, which will be Light versus Hero. All exciting matchups. I hope you guys out there are excited too. As you mentioned, not going to be an all-Zerg Final Four. We've got ZVZ, TVP, and 2 Terran versus Zergs. I don't think it actually could have gone better than this.
Yeah, this is gonna be an exciting matchup for round of 8. I mean, both of their players have been playing each other a lot, so there's gonna be a lot of mind game that we do not know about. I wonder how well they're gonna be prepared for this next week.
Yep. Now, round of 8, if I remember correctly, is going to be best of 5. So players are going to have a lot of opportunity to stage a comeback. I'm thinking, didn't Hero recover from 0-2 last season versus, was it Soulkey? Now that I'm thinking back, was it Hero that beat Soulkey when he was down 0-2? I have to check. Regardless, Hero is beast mode these days. We saw him play extremely well in the round of 16, and it looks like we're going to be wrapping up pretty soon. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back Sunday and Tuesday, 7 p.m. Definitely tune in. We've got the ZVZ coming up, and then the Terran versus Protoss coming up.
Yeah, looks like Korean casters are wrapping this up, and yeah, it was an interesting match. Short best of 3 matches of round of 16 Group D today. I mean, yesterday was super long. Like, we have been seeing that 30-minute of TVP, like Snow versus Light, and 30-minute long of Snow versus Queen on Eclipse. Like, everything was super long. Like, we were getting tired and casting this. But yeah, it was interesting to watch cool games of this TVT, how speedy Rush was. Like, during the interview, Rush said Barracks is aggressive and speedy, like he's fast, but Rush is even faster.
Yeah. Once you get to top tier Terrans, it's none of this just siege mode and sit. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, I know Artosis complains about that, but there is constant movement across the map, and you saw Rush exploit that, and he played extremely well today. Well deserved to move on. And that is going to wrap us up for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week, Sunday and Tuesday.